STL.com. Forward and back. Giddy up.
RENNER.
The Dave Glover Show is sponsored by the Michaels Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. IGotFloored.com.
Good afternoon, St. Louis. 104.1 FM KMOX DGS. Happy Tuesday to you. Pretty day out there. Once again, as you just heard Dave Murray talking about, we have some bad weather moving in at some point during the DGS. So, of course, between Dave and Michael Calhoun, we will keep you abreast on everything that's happening. And if anything turns severe, we'll let you know if it's within the KMOX listening audience. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Did we even talk about Andrew being gone yesterday? Did we just pretend he didn't exist?
I don't remember.
I don't either. He's gone. He gone.
Yeah, he gone. We'll be back.
Yeah, he is in L.A. and he went to his brother's wedding, and then he went to Hands Over America, Mickey Mouse Land or something like that. I don't know. There's so many different theme parks that I've never heard of that he's going to, and then he'll be back Friday, I think.
That's correct.
Right?
Hey, that's what I've been prepped for. So.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a weird little segment because each day it seems like this week we're having a 1 p.m. news conference, and we'll be joining that. Michael Calhoun's going to give us a little wave, and we'll go to it. And then at 1:30, we have the mayor, Kara Spencer, scheduled to be on the show. So we'll get to go in depth with her. And yeah, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jump right in.
Jump right in. Yeah. So I'll just start talking.
All right.
And then I'll stop abruptly.
Right.
And then come back awkwardly.
Yeah.
After that.
Sounds like a plan.
That's how it works.
Yeah. We got it all figured out.
We could pretend it's something different.
We had to do the same thing on Rush Hour last night.
Yeah.
Because there was a 5:15 and we found out about 3 minutes before. Well, all right, guys, pause. Here we go.
Yeah. So last night I got to sit in the green seats at Busch Stadium for my first time ever.
That is so cool.
You looked like a spy.
Oh, my Lord. We should post that picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, of course, I was the first one of my foursome to get there.
Yeah.
About an hour before anyone else
really?
I was like the third person in the stadium. Yeah. So I ate my buffet by myself.
Nice.
Looking like a
nice
freak.
in there, isn't it?
It's really nice. Yeah. Super nice.
Yep.
And then I couldn't look more like a new. I was trying not to look like a newbie. So I just started walking towards where I thought the field was. And a guy stopped me. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah. It was, section 5.
Just bored.
Row FC3. He's like, "You just walk straight up there and take a left and you're at your seat."
Nice.
And it was right behind home plate.
Yeah.
And we were on TV the whole time.
That's
because
so cool.
we had two young ladies with us from Player One, which is an energy drink,
Cool.
really great energy drink. And I told Sonia, my sales rep, I'm like, let's not hang the whole night. They're young. It was Sky and Isabel. It was Sky's first time to be at Busch Stadium ever.
Oh, wow.
She moved to St. Louis from Seattle 2 weeks ago. And
All
I'm
right.
like, well, don't get used to this kind of treatment.
See, this is as good as it gets
This
out of
is
the game
good.
right
Yeah,
there.
you're starting at the top.
Yeah.
So,
Green seats, Dave Glover.
yeah, Dave Glover,
I
right?
mean, good Lord.
And so my family and friends were taking pictures of me on television. And I was sitting by myself with my shaved head and my tattoos and my sunglasses looking like a straight up assassin.
Dude, you did. You were ready to take someone out.
That was fun.
And then I was spying on you.
Yeah, I know. You were like
My
two
seats were-
sections over.
Yeah, just back there. I took a picture from a distance. Like, look at this guy. He looks shady.
And I got home in time to watch the end of the game, and Sky and Isabel were still there. So they're
Yeah.
having a good time.
Cool.
Good.
I'm interested in Player One now. I'm looking at their website.
It's really, really good stuff. It really is. It's like it's much healthier. It's a powder, and they have different kinds, and it's it's natural, and so we may be doing some business together.
All right.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get some of that for Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's the energy drink boy.
Gotta get him off those other ones.
no
He
kidding.
drinks those like ghost ones.
Stop. Yeah.
The ghost ones look crazy unhealthy.
Remember when we
That's
were
like straight
going
up
through
drugs.
his charged lemonade at Panera Bread
Oh,
stand?
yeah, the killer lemonade.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed a couple of those myself, but that's not an everyday drink.
I have feared him. I was a
Yeah.
little afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wasn't smart of me to drink them, but I certainly did.
And I just love that he's using his wife's Panera
Drink
pass. Like, that wouldn't be worth it to me because I hate awkwardness.
Yeah.
And even if you told me, like, hey, Dave, you can go to the green seats, but they're in Kevin Wheeler's name, and there's going to be a little kerfuffle over it, I wouldn't go.
Really?
No, I don't like that. I don't like that.
I get it like the first time, but after you do it a couple times, it's like,
Yeah, like even being on the train, like taking Amtrak up, I didn't know how the doors opened.
Uh-huh.
And so I just stood there waiting for them to open for me. And then I tried opening them like the Hulk.
Yeah.
And I got it about a foot open. And then the guy goes, just push the button.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh, the giant green button.
the one that says open.
And so then here's how Glover started. Then I had taken exactly one train ride. And on the way back, a guy was trying to open them Hulk style.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. You're
come on,
coaching him
dumbass.
up.
Yeah. Hello.
There's a button right
It's
there.
like,
Do you
hey,
really
buddy.
think that's how you're supposed to open those doors?
You just flexing for everybody.
The best ever wheels was when Nick was about 6, and we were at Tantera Lodge in the Ozarks, and they had a water slide, and he would not go down it. He just would not go. He was terrified. So in my one Jack Glover sort of move of my whole parenthood, I just picked him up and threw him, and he's just ass over tea kettle, and I can hear him screaming all the way down. So he comes back up and he's crying, and then he gets in line, and the first thing he does, he turns to the kid behind him. He goes, so in the third turn, you're going to want to lean a little left. Okay.
He needed that push.
She needed that push. Yeah.
Because he's like,
Sometimes we
I'm
all
going to do that again.
Yeah. Do you ever get any of those thrown in the deep end, literally or figuratively?
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Nonstop. I was a kid in the 70s and the 80s. My
Right.
dad was like, here you go. Boop.
Yeah.
I remember we did, I forget how old I was, but I was probably 8, 9, maybe 10. We went to the water park at Disney down in Florida, and I'm forgetting what it used to be called. And they had like one of those big zip lines that you could try to go across, and you had a huge slide that had like a drop where you go down the slide about 20, 30 feet, and then you drop 20, 30, 40 feet.
Yeah.
And he was just like, all right, bud, here you go. I had swimming lessons, everything. He knew I could swim. He's just like, you got to go, bud.
I was the king of trying to get out of that. Like at Six Flags, I was terrified of the Screaming Eagle when I was probably 12, 13. The perfect time for the Screaming Eagle. And I remember getting in line because they're really long lines. And I remember thinking like, well, I've got an hour to get out of this. And the closer I got, I was just like, oh, God, my colon's on the outside. I should,
Gotta
oh,
go fix
man,
that.
I'm gay. I just figured that out. I should probably go talk to someone. And couldn't get out of it. And was just like mortified, scared the whole time. Roller coasters.
But did you want to go back again?
No.
Oh.
No. I've been on many rides, but I've enjoyed them in that like screaming kind of way. But I've never been like, the log flume is my speed.
That's your game.
Same.
That's my speed.
Right. One big drop.
Yeah. It's like, I used to try to be a big drinker and I'm just not.
Yeah.
That's not my speed. There are just tons of things like that in life where you try to be something you're not. And
I think we're going to go to the press conference.
okay,
now,
let's
Dave.
do
I'm
it.
sorry.
Let's do it. We take you to Mayor Spencer.
Extreme weather event last night. It was not, thankfully, as bad as we anticipated or feared it would be. While we recognize so many families have withstood even more damage coming into their properties as a result of that, we're thankful to say we don't have any reports of further damage or casualties as a result of that. That was our biggest fear, and we're grateful to learn that today. However, obviously the rain is causing immense amount of stress on buildings and for the families involved. There is a tremendous need for additional supplies that is ongoing, tarps, as well as the great people in the community. We're working hard to get these things out there, but we certainly have a tremendous amount of ongoing and growing need as we continue to go through this disaster. We cannot have this kind of recovery without, of course, the federal government stepping up. And I want to really, really thank Governor Kehoe as well as Senator Schmidt and Josh Hawley for coming out and backing us up in our ask for that federal assistance. Thank you. A few updates on where we are today. We have done an assessment of what funds are available locally that we can redirect to start to make recovery out of our ARPA funds and other funds on housing, et cetera. So that is a good thing. We're looking at at least $10 to $20 million at this point on that front. We have also, as you know, taken steps to adjust, not just adjust, we have taken steps to rectify the procedures and policies as it's associated with our deployment of the tornado sirens. I issued an executive order this morning that very clearly defines that process. The fire department has been a tremendous partner in redefining that. We have issued that this morning, and I have full confidence moving forward that the fire department will be deploying the tornado sirens reliably, effectively, and immediately as required and directed to save to protect the community. I also want to say we are in the process of automating that system. Within a year, there will not be a need to have a human being press the button. That will be an automated system that will be in place within a year. Because at the end of the day, the siren failure should have never happened, and it never will happen again. A few other things starting tomorrow. Starting today, the National Guard is on site. They are conducting the necessary evaluations with our office, city departments, the chief of police and other officials to understand what the need is. As I mentioned before, in order for the National Guard to come here, we have to supply a very, very specific ask, and that requires a pretty comprehensive assessment of the need. We are in the process of conducting that on site with the National Guard today. As of tomorrow, FEMA, SEMA, the State Emergency Management System, and the U.S. Small Business Administration will be on the ground in the impact zone for 3 days. 3 days, and that will be ongoing, doing preliminary damage assessment. This is critical work that is outlining the process of submitting the request for national disaster declaration. Okay. In addition to that, we are working to secure teams of building inspectors. These are experienced folks in the tornado scene that will help us perform the disaster related work to assess every single building in the zone. That is going to not only help us to identify which ones are safe, which ones are not safe, and what the damage, what the scale is, so we can start to assess the real damage here. This data will be going in and be used by the governor to make that federal declaration a disaster request. And as you know, this has just been a tremendous and ongoing effort. I can't overstate the work the community partners have been doing in addition to the city workers. We were out this morning. We're talking about 100 folks from forestry, parks, etc., street department. Everyone is out, all hands on deck. They have been since this disaster. The response from our city workers is unprecedented, unbelievable response. Our first responders have continued to do a tremendous lift to make sure that we haven't had serious incidents since the tornado, and the community has come out in droves. I am so proud, enormously proud of the community response that we've seen since Friday. Thank you all. And I'm going to turn it over to the fire chief, Chief Jenkerson.
Good afternoon, Chief Jenkerson, St. Louis Fire Department. Since last evening, the fire department has reviewed every protocol, every procedure that was in place. We are establishing new protocols and new procedures. The fire department, we're about redundancy and resiliency. We cannot have a failure at any point in any type of policy or any type of mechanical device. We have to have backups. With that, we brought in the National Weather Service. They were on site this morning. We went through every piece of equipment that we have at Fire Alarm Dispatch to make sure that everything was operational. Anything that we thought was marginal, we're having it replaced. The contact system, like I mentioned, redundancy. I wanted a minimum of 3 contact points. Right now we have 4. We have text, we have email, we have a phone call. We also have what's called a NAWAS system, which is a secured line directly from the National Weather Service that will notify us of impending issues coming in. So we are also set up training for this week for all members to make sure that everybody is on the same page, including the National Weather Service, as how this system will be activated. So that will be ongoing. We will put out written procedures, which we are working on right now. Who's next? Who's next?
I believe it's. I just want to reiterate my full confidence in this system, Chief. Thank you.
Chief Tracy.
Police Chief Robert Tracy.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. So we're still going to continue with the curfews, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Continue to have our officers work 12-hour tours, not just in the impact area, but also throughout the city in each district and all the specialized units, all hands on deck, and actually makes us more efficient and gives us more coverage both inside and outside the impact zone. And the importance, I've been asked questions, has there been any curfew violations? Well, we had 2 earlier this morning in the overnight. And that happened after there was a burglary on 5800 block of Persian. Elderly couple heard some noise in their residence. Back door was forced open. They were able to call 911. We had teams out there. We responded. Nothing was taken. Did a canvass of the area, and we're able to pick up a 15-year-old and a female and a 17-year-old male that should not have been in the area. Not sure if they're responsible for that, but we're going to continue to stay diligent and vigilant on making sure people that don't belong in the area are not going to be in the area. It's critically important. Secondly, we just had our first copper wire theft earlier this morning. We made an arrest on that individual. He admitted to it and says he's been doing it throughout the city and looked for an opportunity. But the importance of making sure that we stay on top of this is because as Ameren's trying to lay the wire and do things, if we have individuals that are cutting, splicing wire, there goes the electric, slows us down, makes it, people need this for medical needs. They need to keep things cold, food, everything else. So any individual, if you're going to come in and take advantage of this situation, we're going to hold you accountable. And we're going to make sure that we bring you to justice. We're not going to have this in this area. We're not going to have looting, and we're not going to have wire theft, and we're not going to come at people who are vulnerable right now, and we're going to make sure that we're out there. That's why we're going to continue to have our command post that's out there, and we're going to be there as long as it needs to be, and our officers are going to continue to do these tours to make sure at a time that I can draw it down, but the time isn't now because we got so much more work to do. So that's where we're at. And we also had an accident earlier this morning with a District 2 officer, not part of this whole detail here, but was transporting a prisoner to North Patrol as an overflow from where we put our prisoners. He got into an accident, 4-way stoplight. He waited. When he went through, somebody ran through the 4-way stop sign. The officer's going to be okay, and so is the prison. They were checked out at the hospital, and that person also admitted to fault running through a 4-way stop sign. So I know there was a couple of questions on that, and I can answer that afterwards if anybody wants to know more details. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ameren for a report.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Brittingham, and I am the Senior Director from Ameren, Missouri, who oversees the North Metro Operating Center, located just a few blocks from here. And I will take this opportunity to offer a brief restoration update. I am pleased to report that we have more than 2,300 workers on the job today, some of which you all will see right behind you. Very impressive. And I'm also happy to report that we have more on the way, and we will be here as long as it takes to restore every customer who can be restored. And as you know, the damage to our system is just tremendously extensive, including more than 350 broken poles and thousands of spans of down conductor. And as of noon today, we have restored power to 90% of customers since Friday's violent weather. And we sincerely appreciate your patience as we safely work to restore service. Thank you.
Before we take questions, I'd like to invite the fire chief for an important announcement.
Okay. I want to make sure everybody pays complete attention to this. The fire department will be testing the system today, the weather system, at 3 p.m. This is going to be an ongoing test. We're going to test several parts of the operation system. So at 3 o'clock, it will be tested. So please spread that word as soon as you can. But at 3 o'clock, we will be testing, and it should last about 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you.
Mayor, you mentioned,
You've been listening to a live briefing from St. Louis officials. Mayor Kara Spencer taking questions now. Fire Chief Dennis Jankerson can't emphasize this enough, especially with the potential for severe weather this afternoon, that they will be testing the tornado sirens. After all the trouble on Friday, they'll be doing that at 3 p.m. Should take 20 to 30 minutes or so. It could be a zone of severe weather for this afternoon, so it might be a good idea this afternoon to find a source of information like KMOX and stick with it so you know what's going on. Curfews continue 9 a.m. to 6 or 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., 12-hour shifts for St. Louis Police. A lot from Mayor Kara Spencer, the police chief, and the fire chief. Ameren as well has restored 90% of customers. Now we'll send it back to the DGS.
All right, guys. So we are going to do a few ads for you, come back, and then we'll be talking to Mayor Spencer one-on-one. Tell you guys about the Gelman team. And as you know from listening to the show, they're a real estate group. They are, for my money, the best real estate group in town, not just because they pay me to say that, because I've been in business with them now for over 20 years. I have put my money where my mouth is 3 different times, done 3 different transactions on real estate and houses in Innsbruck and things like that. And look, I like being taken care of, right? I work hard at what I do. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. Outside of that, I want someone who's good at the other stuff. My air conditioner goes out. I want someone who's going to be really good at taking me by the hand, explaining the things that I don't understand. And a couple days later, I got a new air conditioning system. When it comes to real estate, I want someone who knows where they're going. Dave, here's our plan. Here's how we're going to get X hundreds of thousands of dollars for your home. We need you to pretty it up. It's going to cost you a couple $1,000s. Do some landscaping, do this, do that. You're holding hands the entire time, locking arms so that you get the very best real estate transaction you can get. I trust these guys. I know them very well. They are good human beings. If you want to find out what we think your house is worth right now online, go to the front page of thegelmanteam.com when you're ready to talk. 314-336-1991.
Certain restrictions apply.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-280-2424. 800-280-2424. That's 800-280-2424.
During National Military Appreciation Month, we at University of Maryland Global Campus say thank you to the service members, veterans, and families who dedicate their lives to our country. We are deeply grateful. For over 75 years, UMGC has proudly served the military community, from installations overseas to the communities you call home. Wherever you serve, we stand with you. Learn more at umgc.edu/thanks. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Whoopah! The most mouth-watering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd through the 26th for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit STLGreekFest.com for full details.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's Doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Our hometown was hit hard by a recent tornado that devastated parts of St. Louis. And now our community needs us. The radio stations of Odyssey St. Louis have teamed up to help. Go to KMOX.com to see how you can donate, volunteer, or support recovery efforts. Let's come together and show what St. Louis is made of.
All right, let's check in with Dave Murray's forecast, brought to you by Siding Express and sidingexpress.com. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Steve All of the All Financial Group doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824 for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Allow me to tell you guys about Michael's Baths. And while it's a really dumb thing to say that, boy, you're so lucky if you're doing a new bathroom, because I got a deal for you. But it is fortuitous if you have been thinking about doing a bathroom remodel and you've been thinking about reaching out to like Bathfitter or 3-Day Kitchen and Bath or something like that, because I have a solution for you that is going to be up to 50% less expensive and even better. And I've used the analogy. I'm into motorcycles and guitars and drums and fun. You know, I'm not a grown-up thing like that. And if I were to find something I was looking for and I had really decided on, I'm going to do this, I'm moving forward with it. And then a friend said, you know, I know a guy who's really, really good, not fly-by-night, not sketch at all, and you can probably save 50%. I'm definitely going to check that out. And that's what Mike does. Mike has been doing nothing but bathroom remodeling for the past 30 years. Everyone who works for him is local. Everyone who works for him is a craftsperson, and he does just a really, really great job. You're going to have his cell phone. Anything goes sideways on any given day, you're going to know about it right away. But, you know, nothing's going to go sideways. He's going to take good care of you. And with all the uncertainty going on with the tariffs and what things are going to cost, he is letting you know right here he's offering $500 off any shower or tub replacement and $1,000 off a full bathroom remodel. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey, St. Louis homeowners, are you thinking about upsizing, downsizing, or relocating this year? This is Debbie Monterey, and when life happens and you need to sell your home, I recommend you speak with trusted realtor Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands every seller situation is unique, which is why she's created custom programs to fit every home seller's needs. Many people move out of necessity, like for a new job or financial challenges. And that's why Gloria's created her guaranteed multiple cash offer program, giving you up to 6 of the best offers with at least one at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Plus, you sell faster. Gloria did this for the Miller family in Clayton and got them more money than they were expecting and within their time frame. Gloria did it for them. She can do it for you. Get your offers today by calling Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Tonight, the Cards, the Tigers.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 1041 FM KMOX. Pretty day out there, but it's supposed to get rocking and rolling a little bit a few hours from now, and we want to keep the KMOX audience up to date that the fire chief said that at 3 p.m. or thereabouts, they're going to test the emergency weather system, which he didn't say, but I'm guessing that means sirens, and that it would take 20 to 30 minutes, and that's kind of bad timing because that's about when Dave Murray says we're going to have some dark clouds and maybe some spot thunderstorms and hail and high winds and things like that, but, you know, better safe than sorry. I mean, if you go down to your basement when there's not a big storm, that's okay.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world. We don't want the opposite.
Better than the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't, so we have Mayor Spencer scheduled to be on now, but she's still giving her press conference. So we're just going to kind of, play it by ear. Rach is watching it live on television. And when she finishes, we'll give her a call and I'm sure we'll get her on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to have the governor on later on in the week and maybe even Josh Hawley.
All right.
Maybe he and I can bury the hatchet.
Man.
If that happens, I have hope for me and manager Marmal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ollie doesn't think there's any beef.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Ollie doesn't know my name.
I bet he does.
Jake says, I love you guys. I love how you leave the cameras on to see how bored you are too. What a strange concept, right? Because you're not wrong. Like when we're doing the show, it's just, I don't know. It's like a sporting event, right? You're in it and you're playing the game as hard as you can. And then it's halftime and it's like, oh, okay. Or the timeout. And we all do different things. Wheels talks. I pace. Sometimes I just walk out of here and do a lap, go refresh my drink or something. Rach is always busy. She's the only one who actually is doing something during the break. And then Andrew's always being Andrew and jacking around. So
also, it's hard not to look bored when you got nothing to do.
Right. And when
you're just listening and then you may be reading
something.
Right.
Like you're just standing here. I can't go start a conversation with someone because I have to be back in 3 minutes. So.
Or it could be 1 minute. That's the thing. In some of those cases, you don't know when it's going to get tossed back to you.
So it is kind of a weird thing. While we're waiting for Mayor Spencer to be available, let's do a post-mortem on the game last night. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, it doesn't get much better, right? You dominated the team with the best record in baseball. Sonny Gray was amazing. It's an interesting dynamic he's got going on right now because at home, he's unbeatable. He's been unbeatable. And in 3 road starts, he's been bad. It's a really weird thing that's happened so far. I don't know that I want to make anything out of 3 starts because it's such a small number of games. But at home, he's been amazing. I mean, 6 shutout innings last night, 10 strikeouts, only allowed 4 base runners. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot better.
Looked like a Cy Young guy
that's
night.
ace-level stuff. Against, coming into the day, 4th or 5th highest scoring team in baseball. So it wasn't against just nobodies. It wasn't like you're facing the Pirates and you're doing that.
Yeah.
But that was great. The offense was fantastic. They took advantage of Detroit having kind of a bullpen day because of some injuries, but it's what you're supposed to do when you're good. The Cardinals might actually be good. They got some things firing. Ivan Herrera's hitting 400 still. Not going to last, but I mean, it's 16 games that he's played and he's hitting 400. And Brendan Donovan's not slowing down. He's playing like an all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty interesting.
I've seen interesting things. I'm sure it's just TikTok and not great sports writers, but talking a lot about Skeens and Pittsburgh and how they need to trade him now and XYZ. What would you give up from the Cardinals for Skeens?
Everything.
Would you give up Victor Scott, Donovan, and another player?
Done.
Would you really?
Yes. Yes. I can go buy players at a reasonable cost that do those things. I can't buy a Paul Skeens anywhere. A prime aged, controlled for 4 more years, legit number 1 starter with the possibility of being a Hall of Famer down the road. I mean, there's probably nobody on this team I wouldn't trade for him. And it would probably be like 3 or 4 of those somebodies, 5 of those somebodies, including some of your best minor leaguers. Yeah. But
so you'd kind of gut the team to get him.
To a degree, yeah. I mean, to a degree, not completely. You know, there are certain, you have to keep a certain number of them, but
yeah.
Couple guys from the big league team, and then 2 or 3 of your best, you know, think of your 3 best prospects. It's gonna cost you those guys because the other teams will pay that. Now, keep in mind, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. The Pirates are not trading Paul Skeens within their own division. I don't care if the Cardinals had the best offer. I don't think that.
So you think they care about that?
Absolutely.
They don't seem to care about much.
No, but I think they know their fans care about that, and you don't want to see that guy coming at you, you know, on a regular basis year after year, and maybe being the guy that knocked you out of the playoffs in 3 years, or they will do whatever they can to make sure that would happen. But also just being totally baseball realistic. The Cardinals will not be able to put the best offer forward. Other teams have more and better to offer. So, and I just don't want to blow everybody's hopes up.
So bottom line, he'll probably end up with one of the big 3.
Most likely, because in 4 years, he's going to, I mean, forget 4 years. He'll break every record in arbitration when that starts happening after next year. So he's cheap this year. He'll be cheap next year. They're not trading him this year. That won't happen. It probably won't happen this offseason either. That's what kind of people are being aggressive. Like, well, if you're not going to do anything with him, his value will never be higher than it is now, right? The older he gets, the more the value is going to come down just by being older. Then nothing other than that. I don't think they'll even do it this offseason. Your best chance, your earliest chance, probably after next year when you're getting into arbitration and the money's going to start kicking in. He's too valuable now because the extra tickets that he sells on the days he pitches at home probably pays his entire salary.
He's going to get sad.
No, he's not going to. I can't believe he's happy right now. I can't believe anybody with that level of ability looks around and sees the team not doing anything at all to even give his team a chance to be competitive while he's cheap. And like, this is the time to do it. If you were the Pirates and you're ever going to spend, you do it now. You would have done it this offseason, or you'll do it next offseason. They can't do it forever, but you should do it in these windows when you have superstar players that are making nothing.
I saw someone who is a real guy talking about that the MLB could force an ownership change.
They can, but it's not going to. I mean, it's never really happened. The only time I can think of an ownership being forced out, it was Donald Sterling with the Clippers, because it was all of his racist message, voicemails, emails, and all of that stuff. I don't think it's going to happen over how you run your team. It would be a dicey legal thing too.
Yeah.
Where the owner of that team probably has a pretty strong case. Like, look, I have the business. I'm allowed to run my business the way that I want to.
And as crappy as the Pirates and the Colorado Rockies are, they're still making money.
Oh, the Rockies. Oh my God. The Rockies sell a lot of tickets, even though they're not good. They're probably 25,000 fans a game on average, even though they're terrible, because people like going there. Pittsburgh makes tons. And I mean, there was a report a week ago. They have been one of the most profitable teams in baseball for the last 5 years. And that was backed up in that story by 2 owners, anonymous owners, but 2 owners said, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
They are one of the most profitable teams because they take all their revenue sharing money and they just pocket it.
Well,
yeah.
Let's do this, Rach. Why don't we do a live endorsement here, do a stop set, and then hopefully by the time we come back, Mayor Spencer is ready for us. I just talked about Michael's baths. Let me talk about Michael's flooring. Mike has been with me for 25 years. He is the simplest, easiest client any radio personality has ever had. Why is that important to you? Because the same sort of laid back, absolutely, dude, that'll work for me attitude that Mike has given me for 25 years is the same attitude he's going to give you. When I say that all of my friends and family have been to Michael's, I'm telling you, all my friends and family in 25 years, everyone I know has at some point needed flooring. And to answer your question, yes, people do reach out to me all the time in my personal life and say like, hey, who's that guy that you talked about for, jewelry or for this or for that? And everyone has been super, super happy with Mike, whether it's wall-to-wall carpeting, which is our, bread and butter, but we also have linoleum and hardwood flooring and pretty much anything you can think of flooring wise. And we have, all the major brands and all the major lines within them. We're going to have budget lines. We're going to have medium, normal person lines. We're going to have very upscale, this is as nice as flooring gets kind of lines. 3 locations around town. Find the nearest one to you at michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough. But with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across our multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
For 57 years, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been one of St. Louis's top names in home improvement because of their commitment to put quality and professionalism first in everything they do. This is Debbie Monterey, and I can tell you from personal experience that they will give you the best and longest lasting outdoor products available with skilled installation teams who carry out their mission to be the very best in customer service and quality craftsmanship. Whether you're looking for fences, decks, sunrooms, screen room, patio, retaining wall, or more, Chesterfield Fence and Deck is a company that you can trust with your home. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll also offer you 48 months interest-free financing, which should go a long way. Go ahead and do your homework and call around and get bids, but you will find that you get the best value with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Visit them in the Chesterfield Valley or online now at chesterfieldfence.com. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Welcome back, guys. DGS on KMOX 148. Still kind of going back and forth with the mayor. We'll get her on when we can. Could be a little bit later in the show, but she's a good friend of the show, and I'm sure we'll have her on. Coming up in just a few minutes, speaking of friends, I have a friend named Kali Mano, who you may know from TikTok or different social media platforms. Back when I knew her, she was one of the producers for the Stephen DC show, and she's hit it big, and she travels around the country doing shows and sort of is, the representative of Gen X, but she's going to sit in with us.
She's great on TikTok.
Yeah, she'll sit in with us from 2 to 3.
Nice.
So that's going to be fun. Be good to see my old friend.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. TikTok, man, TikTok is already hitting me with we are halfway to Halloween.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'm getting all of those. I don't know if you ever get them at all, but they're like, 'twas the night, you know, and it's like the vibe of the Halloween thing. And TikTok no longer thinks I'm a third-year medical resident.
Oh?
It thinks I'm a witch, like a real witch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would that make you a warlock?
I'm not sure. It hasn't given me male vibes yet.
Oh, okay.
So it's still giving me like,
Gotcha.
hey, if you need a spell for this, here's how you do it.
Wait,
so I'm
what?
feverishly writing
So
all
it's
my
not like
spells
just
down.
entertainment witchy
Oh,
stuff.
no. These are not entertainment
So
witches.
people actually think they can do spells.
100%.
Huh.
100%.
Witch talk, I would
Yes.
assume it's called.
Yeah.
Witch talk.
So
That'd be, everything's got to talk now.
So I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just telling you.
You're
that
learning spells
I'm
is what you're
learning
saying.
spells.
Damn it. I'm in trouble.
Man, I deleted TikTok off my phone this weekend. I was spending way too much time on it. So I said, it's got to go.
Gotta go.
And I miss it, which is probably a good
I'm going to add that back next week.
Yeah, it's probably good that I deleted it because I'm missing it so much. I'm like, oh man, I have a spare moment. I wish I could watch a funny little video, but nope. It's time for a little break for me.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What was your sign that things were getting out of hand?
I don't know. Just like my attention span isn't the greatest these days. And there are just other things I feel like I need to be focused on and doing. So I just took that distraction out of my life for the time being. I'm sure it'll be back at some point. You know me, I go through waves with it. It's like a substance abuse thing. Like when I first downloaded TikTok, I was like, I'm on this too much and it really bothered me. So I would delete it and then I would download it again. And then I was like fine with it for the past several years. Then you get into more of a, I'm just using it too much. And I try to just check myself in those moments. So
yeah. I'm getting better. In fact, sometimes I'll be sitting there by myself, kind of bored, and I'll remember, oh, you have TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just like being on it all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
It comes and goes as far as my habits go. Sometimes it's all about level of boredom and what I have access to in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Always got my phone, though. Things attached to me.
Yeah, it was weird last week when I didn't have my phone because I really got used to it. I mean, I had my iPad, which was weird.
Yeah.
Just communicating through iPad.
You're sending a text and it's like, bloop, bloop, like
I
big,
know,
huge
it
screen.
really was. There was a different sound when it would do boing and all that kind of thing. But having no way to reach people in the car, it was at first just like, and then after a while, I'm like, well,
nothing I can do about it now.
I can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you call 911 from your iPad?
I have no idea.
I would think no, unless you're connected to Wi-Fi. Because
Okay.
you can make calls through an iPad, but you have to have Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
Unless you have a Wi-Fi plan with a card in there.
I was just wondering because, you can use an old cell phone that's no longer hooked up to any sort of plan to call 911.
Yeah.
I wonder if those iPads, most of them, like the newer Gen 1s, have some sort of tower capability. I don't know.
This is interesting. They have discovered, I guess is the right word, that when you waterlog your fingers and your toes, like you stay in the bath or a swimming pool too long, that the pattern of the wrinkles is exactly the same every single time.
That makes sense because it seems like it would go off of your fingerprints or something.
Seems like it. But let's say you have 8 wrinkles on your index finger. You're never going to have 7. You're never going to have 9.
I can't test this.
Man, it's been a while since I've been in a
Yeah, I was
going to
say I don't think I've had that.
That was the thing,
time.
wasn't it? When you're a kid, like,
Yeah.
get out of there, you're getting waterlogged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think about it, it is weird.
Yeah, it's like, what's happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oversaturated.
Man, I used to fight my mom and dad to not get in the bathtub and then fight them just as hard to not get out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like once I got in, I had my
Okay.
Hot Wheel cars
Yeah.
and, sucking the water out of wash rags and things like that. God, that was gross.
I would do the same thing.
Oh.
I was the
I
kid.
mean, can't guarantee I wouldn't do it now if I was
Yeah.
taking a bath with a wash rag.
Yeah.
I was the kid on vacation. You could not get me in from the water if we were in the ocean or if we were in the pool at a hotel. Just forget it. I'm there all day.
One of Rachel's favorite stories is when we were on the road to go to Florida and we were staying in a room, and all my cousin and everyone was in the room, and my mom was taking a bath, and she was really splashing. And they were like, wow, it's like a seal in there. Just splash, splash, splash. So I was next up, and I just wanted them to say the same thing about me. So I just went in there and was a little freak. I was just like jumping up and down and water all everywhere. And then I walked out and no one said anything. And I realized like, oh, I'll never know.
You're not going to hear it.
I'm not going to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to love this.
Yeah.
Here come the splashes.
Wait till they hear my splashity splash splash.
On my tombstone, just put way too performative. Tried too hard.
Were you guys kids that like if you were at a vacation and like going to the pool, you're like first thing you're doing, wake up in the morning, jump in the pool?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Although I was afraid of it.
Oh, really?
I wasn't a strong swimmer.
Oh, okay.
And I definitely wasn't a diver.
Okay.
In any way.
I did one time. We're in Florida. I'm assuming the pool's warm. And it was not warm. I just flew right in and jumped out screaming like, oh my God. And I just stayed in because I'm a weirdo.
I remember one vacation we were staying at a place with a pool and a hot tub. So then you'd like be in the hot tub and then you jump in the pool and it's super cold and you go back in.
And you run back in.
Yeah, it was fun.
We had a hot tub for a summer because I was doing lives for a company and they gave us a hot tub for the summer. And I'll never forget little chubby Nick back then. And he would run inside and he'd get a bunch of ice cubes. He'd run back out and he'd see how long it took him to melt. And he'd just 2 minutes, and then he'd run back in and he'd get more ice cubes, and he did that like the whole summer. That's all he did. I'm like, this boy's got problems.
He's learning to be a scientist.
He's going to grow up to be nothing. Tell you guys about Neovitin. Been with Neovitin now for, again, over 20 years. Always a good sign. Good sign of a show, good sign of a personality, great sign of a company. When they can afford to do advertising for 20 years, what that tells you is that people are buying the product. And they've been in Schnucks now for a long time, and now they are regional, and you can find them in Chicagoland and Iowa. So what is it? It is a very good, very normal, non-extreme multivitamin. So I always tell a story when I was a college athlete and I was taking these mega packs of vitamins and I went in for an exam and did the P test and they're like, what the hell are you taking? Because you have way too much of this and way too much of that and this can hurt your organs. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. If you're like me and you have high cholesterol, we have omega-3 fish oils in it. Again, you can find it locally at Schnucks, online at neovitin.com.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Guys, remember I told you earlier this year, Schnucks lowered the prices on thousands of items across the store. Well, they've lowered prices on even more now. This time they've dropped the prices on popular items like Kraft Singles, Breyer's Ice Cream, Pop-Tarts, Pepperidge Farms buns. They've even lowered the prices on household supplies like Clorox wipes. So just keep that in mind next time you're shopping at Schnucks. Remember, these aren't sale items. These are dependable everyday prices that they've lowered for you. If you want to know if your favorite items have new lower prices, just check out the digital shelf tags around the store to find tons more items, all with lower prices. And make sure you're using your Schnucks Rewards app when you shop too. You earn 2% cash back on every single thing that you purchase. There's tons of digital offers and coupons, personalized savings based on what you typically buy at Schnucks. The list goes on and on. There's so many reasons to download it. Plus, it's free and easy to set up. So, guys, these are everyday savings you can count on when you shop at your local Schnucks store.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Winner of 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 2 o'clock, we've got a partly cloudy sky. It is 77 degrees downtown at the Arch. An update from St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer and the police and fire departments. KMOX's Maria Kina is there. And what do we need to know, Maria?
Michael, at this point, the National Guard is in the St. Louis area. Exactly where they're going to be deployed and what their role is, not exactly known yet. The mayor says that will be known in a few hours. FEMA's still not on the ground. However, they are expecting them to come into the area tomorrow. Now, something that's very important, I just have been talking with St. Louis Fire Chief Dennis Jenkerson. They're going to sound the tornado alarms at 3 o'clock more than once. But, you know, when that system goes, you'll also hear recording, this is only a test. They're going to be doing that live and saying this is only a test. And they're going to make it very obvious that it is a test because the chief says he doesn't want any more surprises. And even though there's a potential for some severe weather coming in here, the chief says he's checked with the National Weather Service and he's not expecting it to be bad. At least that's what we think at this point. Reporting live in North City, Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Thank you, Maria. Draped in a Missouri state flag, the casket containing the body of former U.S. Senator and Governor Kit Bond is on display for the public in the state capitol rotunda until noon Wednesday. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver spoke at Bond's state memorial service today in Jefferson City about how Senator Bond was not afraid to bridge the gap between party lines.
Kit Bond had a shadow, and that shadow will not disappear because it's all over Kansas City, Missouri. And it was well known, and neither of us backed away from it, that we were going to work together, and we did work together.
There'll be a celebration of life service for Kit Bond Thursday afternoon at Ladue Chapel Presbyterian Church. St. Louis public schools have struggled all year getting kids to school on a bus.
It began with contractor Missouri Central pulling out after a racism scandal. There was a noose found in the maintenance building where black mechanics worked, followed by more vendors backing out. Then the district scrambled to cover those routes right at the beginning of the school year, even turning to taxis and ride shares. Many students did not ride the bus on Monday because they couldn't. The tornado closed roads, buses were damaged, so SLPS has decided to cancel bus service for the rest of the school year, which ends on Thursday. And any students that were assigned to other buildings will have to keep going to those buildings. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The Chicago White Sox are capitalizing on the fact that Pope Leo XIV is definitely a fan of the South Side. CBS News correspondent Allison Keyes reports he saw the team play in the 2005 World Series.
There's a graphic installation near Section 140 at Rate Field on Chicago's South Side with a smiling mural of Pope Leo and a screenshot from the TV broadcast in 2005 in which he appeared in the stands.
That's one game that I will never forget, that I was sitting next to him.
That's Eddie Schmidt, who was just 5 at the time, and his family has been friends with the Pope for years.
I don't want anyone to think he's a Cubs fan because he's not a Cubs fan.
The White Sox have sent the Pope a jersey and hat. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The Chicago Cubs tried to claim that Pope Leo had supported their team instead. The KMOX business desk, home prices may have finally peaked after the years of growth across most of the U.S. Reporter Jason Brooks.
Redfin reports that home prices dipped 0.1% in April from the previous month, the first month-over-month decline since September 2022. Even with that decline, the average home price of more than $438,000 was up more than 4% from a year earlier. The biggest year-over-year increase in prices occurred in Newark, New Jersey at more than 13%, followed by Cleveland, Ohio, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, while Oakland, California saw the biggest decline at nearly 6%, followed by Jacksonville, Florida, and Austin, Texas.
2 out of 3 homes sold in San Jose, California went above the listing price that leads the nation. The Dow from Stifel down 275 points to 42,516.
Scattered showers and some thunderstorms still possible going through our Tuesday afternoon. Best chance for severe storms will be late this afternoon into the evening, but it is not a repeat of last Friday. 79 for the high. Tonight, any shower and thunderstorm activity will fade away quickly in the evening. Otherwise, partly cloudy, 55. A cool northwest flow in place Wednesday. A mix of clouds and sunshine, 65. That's a little cool for this time of year. Thursday, sunny skies and 66. But shower and thunderstorm activity back Friday and over the holiday weekend. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Sponsored by FanDuel Sports Network. With more ways to watch the Cardinals this season, Cardinals fans, there are more ways to watch the Cards on FanDuel Sports Network. Watch through your TV provider or new this year, subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports. It's a partly cloudy sky right now, 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Dave Glover Show is sponsored by the Michaels Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. IGotFloored.com.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 1041 FM KMOX. If you're watching on the stream, you can see I have my buddy Kelly Motto here with me. How far do we go back?
Let's see. It was back when Stephen DC still had a job. So it was
Long time.
Still had a job in St. Louis, I should say. So it's been over 20 years.
I mean, before I started my career.
Mm-hmm.
So longer than 25 years.
Literally, I remember you would come in. So when I was a producer for Stephen DC, you would come in and do a law segment once a week.
Yeah.
You know?
And since I didn't know anything about the law, it just ended up being like jackass comedy.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And then, it just like I remember watching your career evolve, because then, Stephen DC got fired for like the 40th time and I was out of work, but like just kind of watching your show grow and grow and grow. And then it was a couple years later and you were just kicking butt. And I'm so proud of you and what you've built.
Thank you. Same.
So, I mean, it's just so cool.
I just keep so I've tracked your career because, as you know, I'm not an online person.
Right.
I don't have a lot of social media.
Yep.
But then when I got TikTok, I'm like, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And
I'm everywhere.
I said something to Marie. She's like, oh my God, she's everywhere. Like, she's huge. I'm like, what do you mean she's huge? Like, she's huge. Like, nationally, everyone knows her. So
yeah, it's like I have two different lives. So because I was born and raised right around here. Well, I'm from Granite City. We're both Illinois
Planet
kids.
Granite.
Yeah. And because I was raised here and like got famous while still living here, like nobody really cares, and it's awesome,
Yeah.
But then I go on tour and it's like these crazy old women think I'm like Donny Osmond, and it's like I have these two very separate lives to where people who have known me my whole life don't even know that I have this whole other career, and then other people, it's like I'm on their phone 24 hours a day and they're so sick of me.
Yeah.
Even my mom is like, why are you on my YouTube? I don't know, Mom.
So take me back to when you started this. How much of it was intentional planning? I think this is my niche. And how much was just throwing stuff out there, seeing what stuck, and then it just sort of built and built and built?
I was just doing whatever was fun for me. And so I've been an oversharer my whole life. I was the kid in kindergarten who would tell my teacher everything going on at home, what mom and dad fought about or who was in trouble for what. I've always just been an open book. And then when Facebook started happening, I kind of grew really quickly on there, and I would do silly lives just with my family, and everybody loved it. And then I did like a podcast and a blog. And so then when COVID rolled around and everybody was stuck at home, and I was, as an extrovert, it was horrible. Like the only thing I could do was get up and make these stupid videos. And it was at a time when everyone was taking COVID very seriously, and I don't know how to take anything seriously. So while I was staying home and wearing my mask and doing the things I was supposed to do, I was also making funny videos about it. And the people on TikTok loved it. And then I tried sharing it on Facebook once, and it was like, oh my gosh, they like a symphony of buttholes clenched at the same time. They were like, this is not funny.
I know that symphony.
Yes.
That's the new name of my band. That's good.
Symphony of buttholes.
Yeah.
And so while the rest of the world on Facebook just fought for years and years and years, I found this literal family. It was like on TikTok. It was like this little pocket of like fun people. Like all the fun people are on TikTok. Dave, you need to be on TikTok and you need to be active on it because our personalities are very similar and you would love it.
Yeah, I do need to do more. I need to step out. I mean, just doing this stream, I fought. Because I was like, no.
Why?
I mean, like, because I'm old school. It's like, no, it's theater of the mind. And now people are just going to watch me stand still, which is not exactly the most exciting thing to watch. Like, it's different for stand-ups, different for playing in the band. But this just didn't feel like the kind of thing that was like, oh, let's watch Dave talking to a microphone.
But it is because nobody has an attention span anymore. So people need more than just one like stimuli. They need to hear it. They need to see it. So whatever young kid talked you into doing the stream, you tell them thank you because you should have been doing it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I fight technology all the time. But when it comes to this stuff, you just got to kind of evolve with it.
Yeah. Talking to Kelly Mono here. So do a formal introduction to yourself for the people out there listening. And I don't mean to make fun of my listenership, but some of the older people who may not be familiar with your content or your past with Stephen DC, just give like a comprehensive introduction.
Yeah. So I've lived in the St. Louis area for not 20 years. Sorry. I'm 46. I think I lived here for 46 years. I don't know what I was going to say. I've always worked in some kind of media. I've done photography and video. I worked at Fox 2 for a little while. And I've just always shared my life online. I've got 3 kids. I met my now ex-husband, Jimmy Mano, on the Stephen DC show. We're still great friends. So a lot of people, if they listen to Stephen DC, they might remember back then because we got married on the air and everything. I mean, it was like we just lived our lives on that show. And then since then, it's just like, I'm just a busy mom and sharing my life with the world. And it's just kind of worked. I don't know how. I don't get the hype, but I'm here for it. So
yeah. And like you said, you ride it until the wave crashes, right?
Right.
Both of us.
And I didn't mean to really fall into this Gen X niche. I kind of do a little bit of everything. It's just whatever's genuine to me, right? Like I love rap music. Like I love it. I drove a minivan that had Thug Life on the license plates for 17 years. Like I love rap music. And I also love kittens, but then I also love talking about my childhood and growing up with, our parents didn't know where we were all day long and they needed commercials to remind us that we existed and stuff like that. And when I started talking about that stuff, it really sort of grabbed hold. And then one of the bigger things that happened was some younger kids on TikTok were trying to make this dance to Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby. And they had their own choreography. And these were like young kids. This was just a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, no. I'm like, you do not desecrate Ice Ice Baby. There's already a dance to it, and here's how it goes. And I did the entire choreography, and I was like, don't let me ever see that crap online again. Well, Vanilla Ice saw it, and he's like, oh my God, I love you. Come out to my show. And now Vanilla Ice is like my homie. Wow. And and that's the thing about social media is that like celebrities are fans of you, and you don't realize it. And then all of a sudden, like Carrie Underwood shared your thing or commented, and I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
How do you know who I am?
Yeah.
But yeah, so even like I do a lot of Gen X content. I do a lot of making fun of boomers in a fun way, and millennials in a fun way. I don't take it that seriously. Some people think I like walk around all day grumbling about like Gen X stuff, but I don't. It's just for fun.
And we kind of had the same upbringing. I remember growing up in South Roxana, Granite City and Hartford were the only places I could look down on, right? You were useful to me. I mean, when I had to feel better about myself, we'd go to Pontoon Beach.
Oh, yeah, baby.
But we grew up the same way, just like mosquito foggers and
who can hold their breath?
Pedophiles, half of the people in your neighborhood,
Dave, I do an entire bit in my comedy routine based on something that you said. You inspired this entire bit that I do about how the banning of jarts in 1986 started the pussification of America. You said that once. I do an entire bit on this on stage. I bring the jarts on stage because I have 2 sets that I bought illegally. And, just so anytime I listen to you, it's like, I relate to everything you say. And so then, when I say it to my audience, they relate. And it just all
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, when I used to tell people I was from Granite City, they're like, oh, I wasn't allowed to go there. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's cool.
I mean, South Lake Santa was literally across the tracks.
It literally was across the track.
Right.
Yeah, that was a rough area too. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it made it tough. I mean, you can't hurt my feelings. I don't have any.
But we didn't know
Raising
it,
my hand,
right?
yeah.
I didn't know it. I didn't know I was lower middle class or upper lower class. Like,
I had no idea I was poor till I got older. And I was like, whoa, we're really broke, you know? And so, yeah, and that's the thing about being raised in the areas that we were raised in, is it's not like in a lot of cities you have different levels of income, but in places like Granite and Roxanne, like there's no rich people there.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the same playing field.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love about being raised there, is
Totally
that nobody
agree.
was better than anyone else. So now, like where I live now in like suburban paradise, like I don't take a lot of crap from people because it doesn't impress me if someone has money.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. And honestly, if you gave me the choice and said you could reverse it and grow up in Ladue, maybe I would take it because I'd be farther along now or something. I wouldn't
no
trade.
way.
I wouldn't trade the childhood though.
No way. No way. I mean,
Ladue parents cared too much.
yeah, of course they did.
I wanted my parents who didn't care much at all. I mean,
Our parents would lock us out of the house every morning at like 8 a.m. and send us on our way. And I know that they thought that other parents were, I guess, like feeding us or letting us use the bathroom. But we were just like eating mulberries and pooping in the woods. Like
Yeah.
we would ride our bikes so far, you know, and then like I said, they had to come up with a literal commercial to remind our parents that they had kids.
Yeah.
Every night at 10 p.m. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And that was a paid for PSA because it was such a pandemic that parents didn't know.
Celebrities were doing the VO. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had Cyndi Lauper
Yeah.
because these boomers would go to bed and would completely
oh, yeah,
forget
wait.
their kids existed. You know, and I got to admit, I had it kind of easy because I did have one of the few still. My mom worked from home. So I didn't have it quite as hard as some of the other Gen Xers, but I still lived the childhood and it was the best.
so I went from Jack and Francis, never saw a whipping they didn't like, made me pick my own switch from the honeysuckle tree. And if I didn't pick a big enough one, they'd pick one. So you picked one just right so it didn't whelp you kind of thing. And then I became a wuss dad.
Of course you did.
Did you?
No, and it's people like you that gave out all the participation trophies.
Yeah.
My gosh, no! You come to my house. There's like a trampoline with no net. You know, my husband's like, "Hey, we got to put up the safety net." I'm like, "No, we don't. How are they going to learn not to fall off?" You know. And so my kids definitely have it a lot easier than I did.
Yeah.
But no, I am not raising spoiled kids. I'm not. I'm not like a lawnmower parent. The ones that just just blaze the way for them. My girls don't ever ask for Lululemon pants. They don't know. No, so you became the wussy parent and gave it all the participation trophies.
And you know what? The one time it happened 2 or 3 years ago, Christmas time, that Phoebe went off on Maureen and I. And all the things I had to go off on my parents for, and I never did. And she went off on us.
Yeah.
And it was about how easy we had been and how that was not good for her and not enough discipline. And afterwards, Maureen and I were both like, what the hell was that? Like, seriously? Like, we got yelled at for being too easy and too nice and kind. And I'm like, I said to her, I'm like, look, unless you have a whole life I don't know about, unless you're some sort of like cat burglar, like you just haven't gotten in trouble. I'm sorry that we didn't just find, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, we didn't make up reasons for you to get in trouble. You know what? Kids today, they will always want something to complain about. It's like fashionable or cool to be like the victim or have like a trauma. Yeah, the girls who are like, my trauma. No. And I told my daughters, I'm like, if I ever see you making a crying video on social media, you're grounded forever. Like, we don't show emotion like that. That's not what you do. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Kids are always going to complain about something. You know, once in a while, my kids will complain about something I do. I'm like, if that's the worst thing you got to worry about with me as a mom, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. So
100%.
don't feel bad that you were a wuss dad, especially because with Phoebe being a girl, I can see how that's a little bit. I would like to think that I was fair to all my kids, but I was probably a little bit easier on my son just because I wanted my girls to be tough. You know, and so kind of same thing with dads. They want their daughters to be soft and protected. So I get it. We do the best we can.
Yeah, everyone does.
We do the best we can, but I'll say this, and I'm looking right at the boomers. I never asked my 8-year-old to take the wheel of the car going 80 miles an hour on the highway so I could light a cigarette.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
hold this.
Right. I mean, people want to know why we didn't wear seatbelts growing up, and it wasn't because we didn't have them. We had assignments, we had crap to do.
Yeah.
We had to take the wheel for mom. We had to climb in the back and get a beer for dad. Everyone had somebody with a hole in the floorboard of their car. So sometimes we were on trash duty.
Yeah, someone asked me one time, did your dad ever let you sit on his lap and steer? And I'm like, oh, in my neighborhood, it's when they had too many Falstaffs. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a fun thing.
It was a responsibility.
It was a responsibility. It was like, I can't see straight.
But the thing is that nobody in Gen X ever learned how to drive. Nobody taught us how to drive. We all just knew how, because at some point in our childhood, we were 12 and leaving somewhere, and we were the most sober one in the family, and dad threw you the keys.
Yeah.
And that's how you learned.
Yeah.
There was no lessons on driving. It was just, you always knew how to do it because our parents didn't care.
Then I went down to Southern Illinois where my cousins lived on a farm, and they were driving combines.
Yep.
Right. I mean, there's always someone who's even more screwed up than you. So
I like to think so. But yeah, nobody taught us how to drive. There were no lessons. You just always knew if you grew up Gen X.
So you have a show coming up. Before we take a break, let's tell everyone about that.
Yeah, so I have combined forces with 3 other Gen X content creators, and it's called the Gen X Takeover. So we go in a city and we sort of take over and do a couple shows, and then we go to bed at 9 p.m. like good Gen Xers. So I told them we got to do St. Louis. We've been on tour all year. I said, let's come home. I've never done a show here. So we are going to be at the Factory on Sunday, June 1st. The show is at 5 p.m. Tickets are still on sale, but there are about 130 left, and that is it. And the website is genxtakeover.com.
5 p.m. is genius. Chef's kiss to you.
You're welcome. That was my idea.
Yeah. So my band played for 20 years, and we're getting back together. And so we did 700 gigs, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Right?
No.
And I tried telling the bar owners back then, I'm like, look, the people coming out to see my show are my age. 9 p.m. is legit bed. I mean, it's legit at least crawl into bed and start watching TV or something.
You have to know your audience. So they had slated our show for 7. And I said, let's scooch that back just a little bit to 5 p.m. And I've had so many people comment on how happy they are.
Very cool. So Kelly's going to be with us for the entire hour. You can say hello to her here on the stream. We want to call in 314-436-7900. Tell you guys about Dr. Corey Solman, orthopedic surgeon. So guess who's going to see Corey tomorrow? My Worlds Collide. Little precious Phoebe Glover, who I tried to keep pristine and away from harm, was doing a water slide at a frat party at KU, and she and 20 other girls jammed their knees up when they hit the bottom. So she's going to go in and see Corey. Chances are great that there's nothing really wrong, but she's still having some instability, still having some pain. Maybe he'll do an MRI, but I know that my little angel will be really taken care of with Corey, the same as yours. If it's you, just a straight up adult who, had a slip and fall or a sports injury or a car accident or something like that, you know how to take care of yourself. But when it's your kids or your elderly loved one, like my mom who fell and broke her hip before she passed away last year, there's no one better in the operating room. There's no one better in the consultation room. He's a really good guy. He's really easy to talk to, very funny. He's going to make everyone feel comfortable. 636-231-5881 or SolmanOrthopedics.com.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise, but the one thing we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies, 314-991-9005, or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial, Inc., an FFC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Anderson is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Find out why Renewal by Anderson has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1957. rbastl.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
KMOX is everywhere. 1120 a.m. Streaming live on the Odyssey app and now at 104.1 FM.
Welcome back, guys. DGS on KMOX 225. My old friend Kelly Matos here with us. She is doing a show at the Factory on June 1st. Doors are at 4 p.m. The show is at 5 p.m., so check that out. How do they get tickets for that, Kelly?
They go to genxtakeover.com, and we also have an added VIP option if you want to meet us and do a little after show and a photo op and all that kind of stuff. But just genxtakeover.com.
So are you like me? I am like the WB Frog. I'm either on or I'm off.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You relate?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's kind of with everything in my life. I'm always like one extreme or the other, but it's like, if I do a show, when I come home, everybody knows, like, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me for like 12 hours because while I'm very much an extrovert, I lose my social battery very easily. And when it's like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just not going to move all day. I'm going to bed rot.
I don't know about you, but I feel like 2 generations have grown up now not knowing how to do anything because my kids don't know how to do anything because I don't know how to do anything. But I don't know how to do anything because every board or light I ever held for my dad ended up in an MFN, right?
You did it wrong, right?
Right.
You
Yes.
have PTSD from holding a flashlight.
Yes. So just like so critical. Everything's so critical. You're so stupid. You're so this. And it's funny because we all grew up that way, but it's not when you're in your therapist's office. And
No.
you're just, right?
Right? No. I mean, you think about the things that our parents used to say to us, and it's insane. You know, like the daily death threats were like, you know, I could never look at my kids and say with a straight face, I brought you into this world. I can take you out of
And
it.
mean it.
Oh, they meant it.
Yeah.
They meant it. And it was like, Mom, I'm bored. They're like, go play in traffic. Could you imagine? Like, now, while I was not a wuss parent, I also wasn't, I wasn't raising my kids like I'm a boomer. But yeah, I mean, our boomer parents could turn anything violent.
Yeah.
Anything.
I think our parents had us because they had to.
100%.
And a lot of people have kids now like as accessories.
Right, to show off.
Yeah.
We were like a burden to them.
Yes.
And now, like, going back and looking at all the things that the boomers would make up to make our lives miserable, I'm starting to put it all together. So, like, when they told us that if you went swimming, if you ate any food, your stomach would cramp and you would sink to the bottom and die.
You got to wait a half hour.
I'm like, why would they tell us that? I'm like, oh, they didn't want to feed us. They didn't want to pay for our nachos at the pool. And the only way to not have to pay for that was to tell us this crazy story.
Remember when you found out quicksand wasn't a thing?
Oh, yeah. Or that I wasn't going to be offered drugs all the time. You know, Nancy Reagan was like, practice saying no. I'm like, I thought way more people were going to offer me drugs.
Yeah, no one offers them to me anymore at all. So
yeah. And then our parents would just leave us home by ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
But we were never allowed to say we were home alone. We had to say our parents were in the shower.
Right.
Because they didn't want their friends to know that they were abandoning us all day.
And then when someone would call and I'd say to my mom, tell them I'm not here. And she'd say, I don't lie. And I'd say, tell them I'm in the bath. And she'd say, go stand in the bath. And then she'd lie her ass off.
True,
I would hear her lie her ass off all the time. But when it was for me, so they just wouldn't do it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, like our first bullies were our parents. 100%. Like that was our first bullies. But I mean, in a sick way, it was a way for us to earn their pride, their approval, I guess.
Yes.
It made us tough.
Yes.
It were. I'm glad things have balanced out and it's not the same and that we don't threaten our kids anymore. But
all right. When we come back, we're talking to Ricky Horton. But when we get back with Kelly, I want to know what she thinks our kids are going to be like as parents. Quick break, right back. DGS and KMOX.
All of a sudden, I started hearing like the building was being torn apart.
KMOX Storm Center coverage.
Michael Calhoun with Dave Murray.
Winds of 80+ miles per hour.
KMOX is everywhere.
KMOX's Sean Malone begins our team coverage.
A building that has been blown over on Enright Avenue. Absolutely insane to see this level of damage.
Amy Marks Corps is surveying the situation in Clayton.
There's a giant tree that has taken power lines down at Big Bend.
The trusted voice of St. Louis.
Springtime, it's May. That's what we have to expect.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's check in with Dave Murray's forecast, brought to you by Siding Express and sidingexpress.com. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Bill talks about why he loves 3-day kitchen and bath.
I was looking to renovate a home that I purchased. They came out, did all of the work in a timely fashion, and looks first rate.
Bill, would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath?
Oh, yes, definitely. Not only because of the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the line. From the beginning until the end, that they were there and with me. And as we went along, I saw some things that I thought I might want to change, and we're happy to do that. Really pleased with the way they work. As I said, not only the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the way.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
We started Neovitin because we wanted to create a multivitamin for ourselves. That's why we focus on quality ingredients and formulas with our multivitamins. Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins are formulated with over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our 4-ingredient physician-formulated proprietary blend for the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins a try for yourself. Find them at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Spring is here. Time to have your valuable trees inspected by Gamma Tree to enhance the beauty and safety of your trees. I'm Tim Gamma.
I'm Tom Gamma. Don't trust your trees to just anyone. Call the pros at Gamma Tree. Now in our 71st year.
Our talented staff of certified arborists can survey your trees to determine their needs, whether pruning, fertilizing, pest control, or removals at the highest level of professionalism.
Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Let me tell you guys about Susan L. Ward, divorce attorney. And in 25 years of doing these live endorsements, I have tried very hard to not be hyperbolic and to not overpromise and not to be a hype guy, because one, that's just really difficult on the ear to hear that 16 times a day. But I also just want to undersell and overdeliver. With Susan, she's the one person I can say, look, I've known her for 30 years. She was a complete stud 30 years ago. She has 30 years more experience. She is 100% in the top 3 divorce attorneys within the sound of my voice. Susan is my pick because she's my very good friend. And I like it because she has every arrow in her quiver. She has the ability to be fierce. If someone is mistreating you physically or emotionally, or there are addiction issues, you have to fight for your kids. No one is going to be a better advocate for you. And if you want to keep things amicable and you don't want to fight and you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, she can do that as well. The other thing she'll do is she'll give you real answers. If you get in touch with her, let her know you're from the DGS. She will give you real answers to real questions, like even about money and things like that. Call 314-783-9400 or visit stlfamilylaw.com.
Tonight, the Cards, the Tigers. Ameren Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Ricky Horton's segment is sponsored by Goodwill. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 104.1 FM KMOX. Time to talk to our pal Ricky Horton. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Dave. Hey, I can't be having a better day. I just played 18 holes with my friends at Whitmore Country Club. Now I'm getting to talk to my friends at KMOX. Then I'm going to get to see some other friends at the ballpark at Busch Stadium tonight. What a day!
Pretty nice day.
Living the life, Rick.
Yeah.
Whitmore's my
It's
club
the
out
life.
there. I love Whitmore.
Yeah, there's a few trees out of bounds named after you. I noticed they have little plaques.
So I did something last night, Rick, I've never done before. I got to sit in the green seats last night at the game.
Oh, how cool was that? Well, I mean, and you had another good game to watch too. The Cardinals have been given a bunch of those, but yeah, there's something about, you don't have to do that every time. I mean, there's something about sitting in the bleachers in Wrigley, and I know you've done that, or sitting in the green seats, or, I mean, there's really not a bad seat in the house, depending upon kind of, the attitude you bring to it, I guess, and the people you're with. I mean, it really still is a kind of a connection game to me. And, the seats, yeah, it matters, but you still just like to be able to connect with the people around you too.
I tell you what, and not just, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here. When Nick and I went to Chicago this past weekend, we saw 2 White Sox Cubs games. And for the first time in a really long time, I saw bad baseball. The Sox are just not good. Like, they don't hit cutoff guys and things like that. And it really made me appreciate our team even more.
Well, especially on the defensive side. I mean, if you see guys missing cutoff men, and then you see, Cardinals not only doing all the little things right, but making some great plays too. I mean, defense, people kind of just dismiss defense in baseball. Not everybody does, but a lot of people like to see runs. I mean, it's like watching a soccer game and all you care about is the goal. I get that. But boy, there's a lot of other things that go on in a soccer game that are very athletic and have a lot of artistry to it that is worth watching.
Go ahead, Wheels.
Rick, it's a fascinating run, right? I mean, a month ago there was, not even a month ago, 3 weeks ago, there was concern about a whole bunch of things, right? The rotation hadn't been going well. They hadn't pieced together the bullpen, but they've kind of got that now. The lineup was okay, but not dominating. It was good, though. It was pretty good. And now you've gone 13-2 in the last 15, and both losses are 2-1 losses. So really could have won every one of the last 15 games. And there are clearly still not things going well, but it doesn't matter when so many things are clicking.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, things don't go well on the 27 Yankees. I'm sure there was a pitcher that had a bad year on the 27 Yankees. And so, and actually we've been talking a lot about lately and just thinking about Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker are getting off to a slow start, although Jordan's had a couple of very good at-bats this week. But them having slow starts in the midst of the team getting 10 hits every night, you kind of go, oh, that's okay. I mean, we'll worry about that later because there's something else. It's not so glaring, and I think it's good for them too to just have some breathing room to kind of get better. And so, I honestly, I think about this team, and I started saying it in spring training that it's 40th anniversary of the '85 Cardinals, and we were predicted to come in last place, but everybody got better, and that's how you win. Everybody gets better, and we were young, and everybody got better, and people you didn't even know about, all of a sudden you're talking about Willie McGee, John Tudor. I mean, those weren't kind of frontline names prior to '85, but the fact that they were able to have those career years, and again, I'm not saying it's going to be repeated and we're going to win the pennant, but you just keep playing, you never know.
Yeah. Well, so I want to run something by you that we talked about last night on Redbird Rush Hour. So it was me and Matt Pauley and Bernie Miklas, and it started off with Matthew Liberatore, right? He's 25 now. He was not ready to be this guy 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe not even last year, but he learned some lessons last year pitching in shorter stints as a reliever, and it built some confidence. And I wanted to ask you, and because this is what we brought up, is that kind of dynamic easy enough to do with a position player where maybe you give Gorman and Walker, who you just brought up, some bites at the apple where it's more advantageous to them, and then let them kind of grow into it, kind of the way Liberatore's grown into being a starter?
Yeah, again, I think it's easier when you're winning to do that. I mean, to find bits and pieces. And I mean, when you're losing, then it's like, oh no, and then people are start pointing the fingers. Not in the clubhouse, they typically don't. I've been on teams that did that too, but I haven't seen that in St. Louis since I've been there. But there are teams that will kind of turn on each other. But I think that the kind of adjustment you're talking about, the kind of leeway, that's an even shorter runway, if you will use that word again. But honestly, I'm thinking about, and I heard you guys talking too, I'm giving some credit. Liberatore is a great example. Alec Burleson, who I also heard you guys talking about, another great example of guys that were given very specific, here's how you get better marching orders after the season last year. Okay, Burley, you're a great hitter when the ball's in the middle of the zone. Libby, you're much better when you're going direct to the plate and you're letting it go. And I mean, instead of just kind of picking. So I think they gave them marching orders, which they have responded to their credit. But I also think it's good on the Cardinals for kind of figuring out what those things are.
Ricky, I love the fact that Arenado called Marmol aside and said, I shouldn't be hitting where I'm hitting. You should put me lower in the lineup. I thought that was great. Yeah. I mean, we were very quick to on the broadcast because we knew that, we'd heard that, and actually Nolan said it publicly at one point. So it's kind of like, hey, I mean, so people don't kind of run with a story that's not true, and that we fight that enough where there's stories that aren't true that people will run with, and I just wanted to make sure folks know that is a really good teammate doing that. It really is, and it doesn't make him play any less hard. Doesn't make him any less confident either. Now, some people may be saying, "Oh, he's abdicating." I mean, who knows what people say what they want, but the point is that that's something a good teammate does. I also need to admit that I was wrong, at least temporarily. I was ready to trade Michaelis for a bag of beans, and he's really been great lately.
Well, you probably would have been disappointed in the bag of beans too. I mean, after what are you going to do with a bag of beans? I mean, you cook them for a couple of nights, Dave, and then that's okay. I'm done, right? And but Miles has been a two-time All-Star. Yes, there's a lot of reasons for you to think that as based on last year, and he would agree with that. And so he's just been able to. And there's another guy that the Cardinals have very specifically, Dusty Blake has very specifically changed some of the trajectory of some of his pitches. Some of the shape is the word they like to use now. Shape of pitches to make him more effective, and he too is taking some marching orders that he's responding to and is creating better results. So that's what coaching is, and that's what players trying to get better is.
I would say, Ricky, all of this falls under something that I think has been, again, you got some new members of the coaching staff. You've obviously had some time to get people, and the people that have been here have had time to work together now for a few years. But it felt like in years past when things weren't working with individual players or whatever, it felt like they were slow to adapt, and the adaptation seems to be happening so much faster this year, whether it's a change on a position, like, we have to move Ryan Fernandez out, and you don't want to, but you kind of have to. Like, those changes are happening. I don't know if it looks that way to you, but it feels like the adaptability is coming quicker.
Well, think about being a young player and you get to the big leagues and you're not really sure of the kind of the pecking order of who to listen to. I mean, that's a problem in baseball today, and it's not just the card; it's it's league wide. That I've got my guru back home. There's a guru here. There's another guy, and there's another coach. We've got 8 coaches, and which one do I listen to? I think the coaches have really developed a great core now too, and they have made sure that players are listening to the one voice, and I think players have bought into that. And yeah, I mean, every once in a while you're going to get something from a teammate. Even, hey, here's a new grip. I've tried this grip. I'm not saying never learn from somebody else, but there has to be a unified approach, and I think the Cardinals have that like they've never had it, at least in the last, let's say, 10 years.
Don't want to underestimate the impact of the guys on the staff either, right? I mean, Brant Brown being new, sometimes a new voice sends it. It can be a similar message, but a different way of putting it, where it clicks with a different guy. John Jay's energy, Daniel Descalso, and obviously Ollie's still very young for a big league manager, but the newer guys joining the guys that were already there seem to have made a pretty big impact.
Yeah, I mean, if we had more time to talk about that, I think I could give you 4 of Brant Brown's sayings that players are responding to that are different words than Turner Ward would have said, but the same thing, or anybody else would have said. But they're just clicking. For whatever reason, they're clicking. So that's not a knock on anybody. It's just that it's working. He's the right voice at the right time. And, leaders rise in those moments. They rise to the occasion when they're given the opportunity, given the voice. And he's clearly made a difference in that clubhouse with that staff and with the offense.
All right, buddy. Have a great game tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Well, good to chat with you guys. You guys can ask me my score later.
Do you know that by donating your gently used items to Goodwill, you're not only giving those items a new life, but you're helping people right here in your community enrich their lives with meaningful work? Your donations support Goodwill's mission of helping people with barriers to employment to be able to get rewarding jobs which provide not only a paycheck, but a very important sense of purpose. Your donations really do change lives. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill.
Cardinals fans, join the conversation at Busch Stadium with some of your favorite former Cardinals. With the Cardinals Conversations presented by Edward Jones, you'll hear from former Cardinals such as Ozzie Smith, Ted Simmons, Ray Langford, David Eckstein, or David Freese. Each conversation hosted by Cardinals announcers Chip Carey or Brad Thompson. Your experience also will include a ticket to the game, a pre-signed photo, and the opportunity to take your photo with the featured player. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/conversations.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions. So it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
So probably not the most professional way to sell you on credit unions, but credit unions are sort of like your cool uncle that drives the beat up Mustang and smells like weed. So they're khaki wearing, Izod shirt wearing, say yes kind of people. They don't go willy nilly, but they have a duty, an obligation to their members to say yes as often as they can. And you put $25 in a checking account at First Missouri Credit Union, and you are a member. You're not a customer. You're not a client. You are a member. And so if you need, say, for example, a signature loan, banks would laugh at you if you said, hey, I need $5,000 and I don't have any collateral, but I have my signature. That is not possible. But at a credit union, they will do that. They will finance a car older than 2020, which a lot of banks won't do. Banks will give you 4.05% on a certificate of deposit. We have to wait 9, 12, 24 months to get it back out. We'll give you 4.27% on the checking account up to $100,000. 2 locations down on Lee May Ferry, 1 brand spanking new big glass palace there, 314-544-5050 or the number 1 stmocu.org.
Did you hear?
A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call today. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them that Dave Glover sent you.
Welcome back, guys. DGS on KMOX. My buddy Kelly Mono is here with us for another segment. You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
We've known each other like 30 years.
A long time.
30 years.
A
You
long
look
time.
great.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got a little Botox, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I got it for the first time last year. I got it for free as like a trade, and then I
Yeah.
did it one more time. So I've now done Botox twice. I'm telling you now, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
I'm wearing a hairpiece right now.
Are you?
Yeah. I wanted it to be really subtle. So
It worked.
I'm just going to add to it a little bit, you know.
Just a couple hairs at a
What if you
time.
just pieced it together?
That's a digging. I woke up the other morning with a 3-inch hair sticking out of the.
And it's like, what?
Just not overnight?
Yeah, overnight.
That's great.
How can that one little hair grow so much and then the rest just nothing? Like
Nothing.
slackers. Like
Yeah,
just,
little comb over.
That one little guy's just
part
like,
in the middle.
Yeah.
So we talked about our parents. We talked about our parenting.
Yeah.
What do you expect from your kids when you're a grandma?
it's hard. I feel like on one hand, I think that Gen Z is going to be really well off because they are very good at, because they've kind of been raised as like princesses. It's like they know how to set boundaries. So Gen Z has been really good about like speaking out about mental health, something we are never allowed to talk about, breaking generational trauma, going no contact with parents and things like that. They are really good at spotting toxic situations and taking themselves out of it. So for that, I think they're going to do great. But the problem is going to be when they get older and realize that they're not special. Like now it's like everything, every symptom is a disorder or a different category to put yourself in when we're all just a bunch of boring adults. You know, it's like these kids who are superstar athletes now. It's like, dude, your kid's going to grow up and be a boring adult like the rest of us. I quit putting all this crap in their brain that they're so special and they're special to you. But I don't know. What do you think they're going to be like?
My kids tell me that they're going to be hard asses. Yeah.
Maybe, kids like ours or yours will not be as wussy of parents because our kids are kind of self-absorbed. And I don't even mean that in a negative way. It's like they have thought their entire life it's all about them.
Yeah.
So as they become adults, they may keep that theory of, hey, this is about me and this is mom's time. And no, I'm not dropping everything for my kid, because that's not how I was raised.
Yeah. They're also going to find out that being a tough parent is hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to not be.
Oh, yeah, it is. Trust me, because Whoo, being
a parent is hard, period.
So,
but being the crackdown, man, nobody wants to be the bad guy.
Yeah. And then there's always my ex-husband was a pushover. I mean, just complete, he would lay down like a doormat for the kids if he could. And then I remember the first time my son ever really got in trouble. He got caught with a vape at school. at school in 8th grade. And I was like, well, how I react to this is going to set the tone for all my parenting. So I took his door off the hinges and threw it down the stairs. And I pulled his TV off the wall. I took his phone completely away from him. Not, just keep it for an emergencies. Parents today are stupid. They will be like, I took Snapchat away from my kid. I'm like, what did you do? Delete it from their phone? They're like, yeah. I'm like, you idiot. They're logging in on their friend's phone. You got to change their password. So that's where I did good, was I was smarter than my kids. And, things like that, and taking his phone. And he's like, well, what do I do if there's an intruder at school and I have to run from him and I can't contact you? I'm like, when you're running from the shooter, you better be like, I should have not vaped in algebra class. Or I'd be able to call my mom right now. It's not my fault you can't call me. It's your fault.
Did you scare Jimmy as much as you did the kids?
Yes,
yeah.
100%. Because there were times where I have to call myself. I'm like, listen to me right now. Listen, if you can't handle this, get out of the room. Because this is how it's going to go down. This is how it's going to go down. So, but my oldest, Rocky, he was just notorious for getting in trouble for stupid stuff, like having a vape at school.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not even good at doing it. Like,
Right.
I was way better at not getting caught than you.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right.
He got caught stealing a beer from a gas station on prom night. And I'm like, your technique sucked. No wonder you got caught. Like, gosh, kid, like, let me show you how to steal a 40. It's not going to fit in your sleeve. Come on. But yeah, nice cop, bad cop. It all balances out.
What kind of shenanigans were you getting up to in Granite City back in the day?
Oh, like waking up like in a field drunk of vodka poisoning, like not knowing where I was. Like, yeah, like I'd be like 15 years old and, my mom would have no idea. One day I told her I was going to the mall and I went skydiving, literally jumped out of a plane. My 15-year-old scared to order food at a restaurant. So it's like, it's just, it's two different worlds. And, we didn't have safe spaces or trigger warnings. Nobody had to tell us not to eat laundry detergent. It's just,
we figured that out.
We had survival skills. Yeah.
And kids today have no survival skills. That's where I worry, because it's like, well, what if one day, like, the internet goes down? They don't know how to drive anywhere. They don't know how to fix their car.
No directions.
They don't know directions. Like, they wouldn't know how to charge your car battery if they didn't have it to Google.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. I think that they're going to do good, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
So, when your kids are bringing people home, are they going to tell them my mom's insane?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, they already know that. And I've always kind of worn that proudly, because it's like, if your kid bullies mine, you better both know how to fight, because like, butthole kids come from butthole parents. And so it's like, unless you treat it head on, I do a joke in my bed. I'm like, have you ever looked up a kid's mom on Facebook to see if you could take her? Because I've done that so many times. And I'm like, dude, don't let her kid talk to you like that. This chick's got bangs. I can take her. Like, I'm not, and I'm not ever worried about being called like a psychotic parent. That's almost like the point, is that if you've got a kid who's like a bully, chances are good their parents don't give a crap who they're bullying. But if you're so psychotic that even the bully parents is like, just leave the Mano kid alone because I'm not dealing with her mom, then you've won.
You've won.
You've won.
Kelly has a show coming up Sunday, June 1st at the Factory. Doors are at 4. Show is at 5. Only like 100 tickets left. So you can go out there and get these, and you get them again where?
Go to genxtakeover.com and you can see the co-hosts of my show, Nick Harrison, John the Dad Bod Veteran, and Slim Sherry. The minute you see all their faces, you're going to be like, oh my God, I follow all of these people. And it's like we all found each other, and it's like a just big fun Gen X group therapy.
Yeah. Love you.
Aw,
So proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
There's an old joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, how much did you make? The next line says, send it in. Really? Not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees, or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-280-2424. 800-280-2424. That's 800-280-2424.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
St. Louis, your drive home just got a whole lot better. Introducing Redbird Rush Hour, weeknights at 5. Get the latest local news, up-to-the-minute traffic, and exclusive St. Louis Cardinals insights, all in one power-packed hour. Whether you're stuck in traffic or cruising home, stay informed and stay connected to your city and your team. The Redbird Rush Hour, weeknights at 5 on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 3 o'clock, we've got some wind. It is 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. As KMOX has reported, Mayor Spencer says there was human failure in sounding the tornado outdoor warning sirens on Friday. Today, she signed an executive order turning that responsibility over to the St. Louis Fire Department solely. Fire Chief Dennis Jankerson
brought in the National Weather Service. They were on site this morning. We went through every piece of equipment that we have at Fire Alarm Dispatch to make sure that everything was operational. Anything that we thought was marginal, we're having it replaced.
The fire department is going to start testing the outdoor sirens at this hour. You may hear them right now and over the next 30 minutes or so. The fire chief says there will be a live voice accompanying the sirens telling you that this is only a test. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer, while thanking Governor Mike Kehoe and the congressional delegation, says the recovery can't be done without the federal government.
Spencer says they have done an assessment of what funds locally are available that can be redirected.
To start to make recovery out of our ARPA funds and other funds on housing, et cetera. So that is a good thing. We're looking at at least $10 to $20 million at this point on that front.
Spencer says the National Guard has been deployed to St. Louis. What their specific role will be has yet to be determined. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
FEMA is expected in St. Louis tomorrow. Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley pushed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem during a committee hearing today to respond quickly to Governor Kehoe's request for a federal disaster declaration.
You've been a governor until very recently. You know how important this is. Can we get your help to expedite the consideration of that request? Again, it was just made yesterday. We need it as quickly as possible. Will you help us expedite that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've spoken with your governor and did that day that this devastation happened.
Hawley is also telling insurance companies he'll expand his Senate investigations of them if they deny claims by St. Louis tornado victims. The 135th U.S. Army Band performing today at the official state memorial service for Christopher Kit Bond, who formerly served as Missouri's governor and U.S. Senator. Bond died May 13th at the age of 86. In his honor, flags at government buildings across the state are flying at half-staff through sunset on Thursday. Former U.S. Senator John Danforth gave the final eulogy inside the Capitol Rotunda.
Let's make what we do with our talents a living memorial to Kit Bond. Let's not hoard them or dig holes and hide them.
A Kit Bond celebration of life will be held Thursday afternoon in Ladue. From the KMOX Business Desk, geospatial or mapping technology experts from national security to the private sector are in St. Louis at the Convention Center.
The theme of this year's GeoInt Symposium is Building a Secure Tomorrow Together. As I took a stroll through the massive exhibit hall, I noticed names like Boeing, Airbus, Lockheed Martin, V2X, and many more. The worlds of technology and security are meeting right here in St. Louis to talk all things about geospatial intelligence. Former Congresswoman and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard spoke here Monday. The heads of the NGA and Space Force plan to speak Wednesday. At the Convention Center downtown, Brad Choate, KMOX News.
And this is just coming in from CBS News. George Wendt, Norm, has died at the age of 76. Let's get an update of the St. Louis Business Index now. Here's Stifel's Kevin Monton. Kevin?
Thanks, Michael. The market had a negative bias today, with the Dow losing 114 at 42,667. S&P was off 23 at 5940. NASDAQ was off 107 at 19,108, and the Bloomberg St. Louis Index was negative 5 at 1567. Stocks to the upside, though, Bear gained 2.6% at 667, and Boeing was positive 1.1% at 207.67. To the downside, Stifel lost 1.3% at 97.22, and Emerson the same, negative 1.3% at 117.99. This has been Kevin Monton, Senior Vice President of Investments at Stifel, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. For more information on Stifel, please visit our website at stifel.com.
Let's continue to keep an eye on the sky with scattered rain and thunderstorms as we go through the afternoon. Best chance for severe weather will be later on this afternoon. This is not a repeat situation of last Friday. 79 for the high. Tonight, any shower and thunderstorm activity fades quickly in the evening. Otherwise, partly cloudy, 55. Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, 65. Thursday, sunny skies and 66. But guess what? More unsettled weather coming back Friday and over a good portion of the holiday weekend. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door for the same-day service. Schedule online at overheaddoor.stlewis.com or call 314-781-5200. We've got 78 degrees downtown at the Arch, and the winds right now are also a situation, so keep an eye on that out of the southwest at 15, gusting up to 29. And again, the tornado sirens may be sounding. If you hear those, it is only a test. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Dave Glover Show is sponsored by the Michaels Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. IGotFloored.com.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 104.1 FM KMOX. Great to see my buddy Kelly Mono. She's great, isn't she?
That's fun.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. Stairway to Kevin?
Yeah. So you guys have obviously, we've all been talking about the news about Joe Biden's diagnosis of cancer. I thought there's two stories that I thought kind of go together on this. One was interesting because you know how, this became an instant conspiracy theory, right? This diagnosis became, oh, you've been hiding this from everybody, and no way does it come out of nowhere like that. But I thought it was interesting and sad, too, by the way. But Scott Adams is the guy that created the Dilbert comic. Yeah. He's a very conservative guy. He's been a right-wing, I don't know if advocate would be the right word, but I mean, he's definitely had a political place in recent years, probably last 10, 15, 20 years. But he just announced yesterday that he has the exact same cancer, that he thinks it's probably going to take his life this summer, but that he said it absolutely can come on that fast, and that it was his experience. And I just found that interesting. It kind of tied into what we talked about yesterday, how when something terrible happens, people start to put aside all of this political stuff. They're like, no, listen, I'm living this too. And this isn't some conspiracy. It does come on fast. It's a reason it's called an aggressive cancer, because there are some kinds that they start and you don't know it. And then all of a sudden there it is. And it has spread, which is why it's called what it is. So I thought that was interesting. And obviously terrible news about Scott Adams.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is. That's terrible news. And interesting, though, that he's kind of contradicting that public message that has been coming from the jerks. Let's be honest. Not most people that are conservative or Republican or Trump or whatever, but like the jerks were doing stuff like that. The conspiracy nuts doing stuff like that. But then there was another story today that's not about the cancer diagnosis, but it was about the last 2 years in office for Joe Biden. So there's a new book coming out, which is why this is coming out. The story's out. But this is a book being written by Jake Tapper, so not exactly a right-wing hitman, right? I mean, I think if we were going to call Jake anything, he would be a left-wing guy. They interviewed over 200 people that were in and around the White House during the last 2 years of Joe Biden's presidency. And these were people saying it was clearly a problem. His cognitive ability was a problem on a day-to-day basis, that his closest circle, so his 2 or 3 advisors that have been with him since the beginning, and his wife and his family, they were all protecting him from any criticism. They were all they wanted to keep it from anybody knowing. But for 2 years, there were all of these people who were saying, yep, it was terrible. In fact, some of them are quoted in this new book as saying they went to Biden's people and said, what are we doing? This can't work. This can't happen. He can't do it. So this was going on for 2 years, and all the way up until just after that debate, which is where it became, you can't hide this from the world anymore. The story was, he's fine. He's great. He's doing the job. And it just made me want to ask, like, when it comes to a high-ranking office, the president of the United States for sure, but maybe even senators and Supreme Court justices, should it be okay to cover those things up? Because to me, that's not okay. That's the leader of the free world, and we shouldn't be. Now, if it's a medical condition that doesn't change how you can do your job, perfectly fine. You don't need to tell anybody about that.
Yeah.
But when your cognitive abilities are a problem, and everyone around you, the people that root for you, the people that want you in that chair, are saying this is a problem, should there be a duty to bring that to the public?
Yeah, I think reasonably that the first time that President Biden or any president or any high-ranking official shows signs of decline, I don't think you need to run to the public and say,
right.
But and we all know, and it's like you recognize pornography when you see it kind of thing, that we all know when that line has been crossed. We are now actively covering this up. I personally, just Dave Glover, personally have no doubt that they are not lying about his diagnosis, because like you said yesterday, there's no reason.
No.
It's anti-logical. It would have been the perfect excuse to get out of running again.
Yes,
I
less
also
embarrassing, yes.
have no doubt whatsoever that this is true, that he was debilitated for much of his presidency, that they did cover it up, especially Jill Biden, and that's terrible. It should not have happened, and we dodged a bullet and probably got President Trump. Now, President Trump may have just whipped everyone's ass, no matter if they had a primary, and if it would have been Gavin Newsom or J.B. Pritzker, he might have won anyway, might have beaten them even worse. But looking back, don't think the Democrats had a chance.
Not under these circumstances.
The way it happened.
No, and the only way you would have had a chance is if you had gotten a candidate that the voters would get excited about, because they didn't really have a choice, right? It was either the incumbent or it was going to be the vice president, because the vice president, when you're that close to the election, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? When you get down to that wire. So you never had a chance to have an actual competition. But it's stunning to me when I'm seeing quotes from people. And again, these are people that worked in the White House, worked for the president, wanted him to succeed, and were proud of the policies they were trying to implement, saying, what are we doing to his closest advisors? And I think it comes back to a larger story too. Like this thing goes up levels. But if you are in those positions, your loyalty should not be to a person. Your loyalty should not be to Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or whatever. Your loyalty should be to the nation that you are there to protect and serve. And when you're covering for someone who has a problem that could impact their ability to do that job to the best of their abilities, that's not okay. Showing loyalty there to the person is not the move.
Do you think that's showing loyalty to Biden, though? Because to me, it's, hey, Biden's our best bet. We better weekend at Bernie's this as long as we possibly can. I mean, that's the way it hits me.
Well,
I don't think it's like, oh, we
going,
can't hurt him. We don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't think anybody on staff covering for that was saying like, hey, Grandpa's just going to be way too upset if we say something to him. To me, it reeks way more of like, we've got a great thing going here.
Yeah.
We've got a staff
We're in
kind of
power.
handling the exactly.
Well, that may be the bigger problem is those very close. So the way that was put, there are 3 really close advisors that have been with him his entire career. And then his family members. They were the ones protecting and didn't want to change it. But all of these other people that worked in the administration are saying this can't work. The polling shows you can't win. And then on top of that, you have all this, but nobody would do it. Nobody would say it out loud. Nobody would challenge this little inner group of people. And I think you're right, guys. The group of people that were saying, what are we doing? What's going on here? They were at least voicing something. But the people that were immediately protecting the president were not doing it because they were only worried about, they were probably delusional in thinking he's the only one that could win because, duh. But they were also protecting their friend and their husband and their father and but that can't be the priority in that position ever, right?
I just have a lot of questions about this. I don't doubt the diagnosis. It is a little suspect that you would reveal it 2 days before this original Sin book drops.
Agreed.
Maybe it's a mere, it's a complete coincidence, but I don't think I'm crazy for going like, that's weird.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me if they knew about the cancer thing for a period of time and weren't going to say anything. And then now is like, well, could shield us from some things.
Let's shield us from some
that wouldn't be
criticism
surprising.
here. The other thing is, would Jake Tapper have written this book if Joe Biden would have been reelected?
Great question. Great. And the answer should be yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer would be, but it should be yes.
And the other thing is, when was this book written? When was the research done? When were these interviews conducted? Maybe the answers to those questions are out there, but I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
But was it going on during the campaign and CNN is sitting on this information because a book is about to come out?
Let me see what it says. The interviews, I think, happened. I'm only going by the write-up. Obviously, the book isn't out yet. It sounds like the interviews happened kind of in and around that time. Like the conversations inside were happening in 2023 and 2024. I'm not entirely sure when the process of the book starting happened. It doesn't address it in the story. But I think that's a fascinating question, too. So the book, here you go. It says the book is based on more than 200 interviews, mostly Democratic insiders, all of which occurred after the election was over. So all of the interviews going into the book. So basically, it's like a postmortem. Why did this happen? Why did it go that wrong? And then here's what we found out.
Okay.
Which is way better, by the way, because you're right. If those things were being asked and those interviews were happening before the election and nobody said anything, that's even worse. If you are a reporter, if you're in the media, you not only should do it, I think you have a duty.
Absolutely.
To put out news, real information, regardless of who it's about.
Well, and Jon Stewart apparently has kind of lashed out at CNN. And you guys know I have my own problems with CNN.
Yeah.
I just don't appreciate the way they approach a lot of topics.
Mm-hmm.
It just reeks of bias most of the time when I'm watching during the day anyway. But Jon Stewart basically is accusing CNN of withholding important news from viewers. And then they're going
Was
on
it on
the
this
air,
story or separately?
on this story.
Yeah.
And they're promoting the book all the time on the air.
Yeah.
It's like, so you're trying to sell. This is the same kind of criticism Michael Wolff faced when he was releasing like Fire and Fury and all that stuff. Like, why are you, or maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was Bob Woodward.
Yep.
Where
Woodward,
with all the George Floyd stuff, like he's withholding quotes. He has this information that's valuable that people deserve to know, but you wait until you're releasing your book
That's disgusting.
100%. To me, that's worse than White House or political insiders protecting their candidate.
Well,
a journalist should never sit on news ever.
The mathematics is no one's protecting the country.
Right. Exactly. Right. Across the board. Right. So you have the insiders in D.C. protecting themselves and each other.
Yeah.
And then you have the fourth estate, which is supposed to keep an eye on everybody, also just protecting stories so that they can sell books out of it. Or in both cases, maybe covering for the candidate that they want to give favorable treatment to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times you could say it for CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, OAN, whatever. You know, those. It's not journalism if you're trying to fit into a certain politic or political viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
That if you say, well, these candidates, we want to be careful. We don't want to make them look bad. Well, then you're not a journalist.
Leo Terrell is a Fox News contributor who, like every other Fox News contributor, is now in the government. And he is an assistant U.S. attorney or an assistant in the attorney general's office. I forget. And he is giving interviews saying that he is investigating Jill Biden for possible charges of elder abuse.
Well,
so it's about to get even goofier.
I mean,
I've never really been on the Jill Biden train as much as some other people. That you're making kind of a leap unless we have like proof. Hey, I have a audio recording of her pushing Joe Biden to run for a second term. Like, who knows what is going on? No one really knows what's happening within a relationship like that. I don't know. I feel it's a little silly to.
But I disagree, because if you take these interviews and you throw 3/4 of them out, and so there are 50 people who were in on this who said this is terrible. Certainly, I mean, I've been through Alzheimer's with my mom and with my dad, and families do the same things. Families cover for each other, and it's not that bad. And one sibling thinks it's fine. And one sibling thinks they need to go to a nursing home. But certainly the wife knows. My mom knew about my dad. And she selfishly, sorry, Mom, didn't do anything about it because she needed him to drive her places. And so I think the same thing happens in the first family as well. But I just believe with all my heart and soul that she wanted the power. Maybe she wanted it for her husband. Maybe she really was being super supportive. Maybe she was being selfish. The ins and outs of it, I don't know.
Right.
But she certainly knew that he was declining. I mean, I saw the debate. She saw the debate. She kept it going after that. I don't blame Joe as much because he's the person who's declining.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the story I saw, there was somebody in there who was one of the advisors, like mad that they're doing this. It's like, look, I don't even blame Joe. Like, he's the one declining. We should be helping Joe, but nobody is, because either they're deluded into thinking this is the best thing for the country, but
it is being selfish.
It is not in the best interest of the country to hide mental decline of the president of the United States.
Yes.
It is not in the best interest of the country, period, the end.
Yes.
And across the board in politics, we need to stop taking our love for somebody out of it and look at it from a neutral standpoint and what is best for us, not what is best for that person.
And the job of being president of the United States isn't just sitting in a room on a throne, being protected, and people coming in and asking questions and you saying yes or no.
Yeah.
Maybe he was capable of that. But you look at what Donald Trump does. Now, Donald Trump is just a couple of years behind Joe Biden.
Right.
But he's got tons of energy. I don't like how he uses it, but he has tons of energy. He's flying all over the place. He's making deals. He's doing interviews.
Yeah.
That's what you need from a president, is that sort of ability.
And it's also about the 3 a.m. wake-up call. And
Yes.
when there's a crisis in the middle of the night, or just something that requires your attention for like 20 straight hours.
But when he
where you
said,
can't go just take a nap.
When he said, yeah, I didn't do well in that debate because I had a cold and I had been on the road. Well, brother,
then you can't be president.
You can't be president.
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you guys about Universal Windows Direct. May is officially kickoff to home improvement season. I'm doing it. Everyone's doing clean spring cleanups. And, like I'm going to do a new deck, or I'm going to do a new fence, or I'm going to do a new this. If windows are on your list, then check us out at Universal Windows Direct. The home improvement sale starts now. You'll get an incredible 50% off your windows. You'll get 12 months with no interest and not even a single payment. You'll get a free entry door with your window purchase, and you'll get the great Universal Windows Direct guarantee, lifetime warranty, lifetime guarantee, and a 20-year warranty and guarantee that you can pass on to someone who buys your home down the road. 314-334-2522 or online at universalwindowsdirect.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
Do you know about the true crimes that inspired a Bruce Springsteen album? Or the murders AC/DC was blamed for? How about Taylor Swift's Violent Stalkers? Or the suspicious deaths of Brittany Murphy and River Phoenix? These stories and more are told in the Disgraceland podcast, hosted by me, Jake Brennan, every Tuesday, where I dive deep into subjects from the dark side of music history and entertainment. So follow and listen to Disgraceland on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and now is a great time to be a home seller in the St. Louis market. Home values are up an average of 2.2% year over year, which means you can take advantage of high prices in a low inventory market. But you should act fast and start by talking to St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. While the average realtor sells 4 to 5 homes a year, Gloria has sold nearly 400 homes in the last 2 years. Plus, Gloria sells faster and for more money. Gloria Liu is so confident she will guarantee to sell your home at a price acceptable to you, or Gloria will buy it herself. It may seem like a good idea to use a discount realtor or that friend who sells a few homes a year, but it could literally cost you thousands of dollars. Worse, your home may not even sell. My advice is to call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
1041 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Stronger than ever.
Now you guys got me all pissed off about the Bidens.
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm like all worked. I was talking about it with Wheels the whole break.
This is the first time you guys are the ones driving the conversation during the break, not me.
We're like, and another thing.
Yeah. And that other guy. I think, honest to God, I really wish that the general mood that we had toward every politician was being pissed off at them. I don't care if they wear the letter you want them to wear. We should always be looking to be critical of them and hard on them and not protect them because I voted for them. Who cares? They're supposed to do a job, and we should be critical of the people doing these jobs. We should be harder on them than we are on other people because their jobs matter, and they matter to all of us, whether they wear a D or an R on their chest.
Yes. If people would police their own side of the street.
Yes.
If Donald Trump sycophants would be harder on him, and if crazy liberal Democrats would be harder on the Democrats, we would be much better off. Much better off. That's if I could change one thing in modern politics, that would probably be it. Police your side of the street. Stop making excuses. Stop lying. You are lying. Stop lying.
Stop gaslighting. Stop doing. Because it's by not doing it to your own, they don't fear anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
They
Democrats,
know their backs are covered.
they're not worried about making conservative voters mad because they're not getting them.
Yes.
And conservative candidates, Republican candidates are not worried about pissing off liberal voters.
care.
They're not getting them.
That's right.
So if you're not going to police your own, then nobody's policing anybody. And that's how we get to this nonsensical state that we're in.
We should be better than this selfish farce that we're living right now. Smart Mouth Rage?
Yeah, there are so many great smart mouth products out there. There's the dry mouth rinse, kind of self-explanatory. There's the clinical, which is great if you have gum disease or gingivitis, that can help clear that up for you. The smart mouth mints are amazing. I use those every single day just to kind of give myself a little boost. Used one this morning before I had an interview just to make sure I had extra fresh breath. The great thing is and the whitening toothpaste, of course, can't forget about that. The great thing is there's something to fit your lifestyle, whatever's going on with you. And your bad breath will be eliminated for 24 hours if you use the rinse twice a day. So you kind of can't beat that.
I know that you could just make a recording of me talking about gingivitis and just have that be my part in the Smart Mouth ad. But I think there are a lot of people out there like me who don't go to the dentist as much as you should, and you brush your teeth and there's a little, blood when you spit it out. That's bad. That's gum disease. There is a prescription mouth rinse, hydrochlora something, that turns your teeth brown and it tastes terrible and people can't usually do more than 2 weeks of it, that a few years back St. Louis University Dental School did a study and showed that the Smart Mouth Gum Health formula is just as good or better. So get that. I can save you $2.50 when you do by going to smartmouth.com/Glover.
Our hometown was hit hard by a recent tornado that devastated parts of St. Louis. And now our community needs us. The radio stations of Odyssey St. Louis have teamed up to help. Go to KMOX.com to see how you can donate, volunteer, or support recovery efforts. Let's come together and show what St. Louis is made of. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law. There's an evil new twist in the tragic story of baby powder and its link to ovarian cancer. Recently uncovered documents reveal that talc can contain asbestos.
The same asbestos that we know causes mesothelioma.
Right, and ovarian cancer.
In the 1970s, the industry wrote its own rules, allowing Johnson & Johnson to claim that its talc was asbestos-free, as long as it contained less than 1% asbestos.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson helped write those rules. So while we're using hazmat suits to remove the asbestos from our homes, Johnson & Johnson was telling women it's safe for their bodies.
Unbelievable. So if you've used talcum powder for feminine hygiene and contracted ovarian cancer, call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
They've already won several large verdicts against Johnson & Johnson for women just like you.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH. That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Whoopah! The most mouthwatering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd through the 26th for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit STLGreekFest.com for full details.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Just getting word of a crash. Sounds like maybe a couple of crashes. 141 at Gravois Bluffs. So be careful if you're headed that way right now. I just see a little slowdown northbound at that location. Southbound 270 from Page down to Ladou's busy. 64 through back Clayton Road. Then it's just a little slow past 44 and approaching Tesson Ferry. That doesn't look bad. Westbound 64 Kings Highway out through McCausland's bogged down. South 170 south of Olive to Brentwood is pretty busy right now. Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 is off the pace. There's slow traffic. Westbound 70 from Riverview through Jennings Station. After that, it's just a little busy west of A to Z. Eastbound 70, Earth City into 270, slowing downtown. There are heavy pockets approaching Salisbury up to 44, and it's a solid jam on 44 for the Muso Veterans past the Poplar because of a crash that's there. And that's also impacting westbound 64, which is bumper to bumper from 3rd Street, headed across the bridge, trying to make that merge onto westbound 44 South 55 on the Missouri side. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Hey, it's Julie Tristan for the Muni Opera House. For the best selection and prices, become a Muni subscriber. See all 7 Broadway hits for as low as $126. Great seats are going fast. Pick your night, price range, and seat. Single performance tickets on sale May 19th. Single tickets start at just $21. Buy at muni.org. Call 314-361-1900 or visit the box office in Forest Park.
Tonight, the Cards, the Tigers.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 104.1 FM KMOX. Pretty out there right now, but that could change pretty quickly. Dave Murray joins us. Dave, let me say on behalf of everyone on the show, you've been doing a great job the past few days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Michael and I worked until, 1 o'clock last night.
Woo. So I'm going to be straight with you. I fell asleep. I don't know really what happened. How bad did it get?
It looks like there was a tornado way down south Washington County, southern Washington County. For the most part, it was some wind, some hail, and that's kind of all of a sudden about 11:30, 12 o'clock, a bow echo, a squall line kind of kicked in and pushed everything out. A lot of heavy rain, some rainfall amounts of 3 to 4 inches over a very short period of time, some flooding on the roads, stuff like that. But it wasn't anything to write home about, but we're all on a little bit of edge.
No doubt.
Just a little bit. The good news is, go ahead.
No, I mean, isn't it interesting that, so as everyone knows, I was in Chicago when it hit on Friday, and I was seeing TikToks, and I thought they were either fake or mistaken. That's not St. Louis. That's not my hometown. And even once I realized it was, and even once we came home and I saw it with my own eyes driving down Skinker, it's still just sort of dawning on us day by day, right? We don't have the full picture yet.
No, we really don't. The damage is incredible. There's still a lot of power outages in the area. And that's going to take a lot of time to come up. But we started to see this effect in the blizzard of 82. It hit us really hard. And then like the next 3 or 4 snow situations, everybody was like, oh, no, it's going to happen again, kind of thing. And I understand that completely. And every time we get thunderstorms now, everybody thinks this is going to happen again.
And what are we looking like today?
The good news is there's good and bad news. We have tornado watches up to our north. And it's basically from about Springfield down to Effingham. And then we have a tornado watch to the south, basically south of Carbondale and Evansville. We're kind of in between. I do think the cool front has come through, even though winds are out of the southwest. That's just the way the system is kind of designed right now. So somewhere along the line, these two thunderstorm complexes are going to come together. But I think once they do, it's going to be past Effingham and it's going to be past Mount Vernon. So I'm going to go all clear here in the St. Louis area now and all clear for tonight. And we've got a couple of nice, relatively cool days coming up for the middle of May, middle to end of May. A lot of sunshine tomorrow. It's a little windy from the west-northwest. 60s to near 70, 52, and clear skies on Wednesday night. Thursday, sunny, breezy, 68, 49 on Thursday night. Friday, sunny and 69, but the unsettled weather pattern comes back again late Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. It's not going to be raining all the time, but it is kind of a scattered springtime thunderstorm pattern. We're going to have to pay attention over the holiday weekend, unfortunately.
Don't we have one of those sort of Memorial Day, St. Louis, it always rains kind of things?
Yes. Yeah. Every 4th of July, every Memorial Day, every Labor Day, every holiday.
Yeah, pretty much. Headlines, Rach?
Yeah, Headlines is brought to you by Schnucks. Reward yourself daily with the Schnucks Rewards app. And I should have done this before Dave Murray's forecast, but that forecast was brought to you by Siding Express and sidingexpress.com. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardy Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardy siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. Let's start by talking about Charles Kushner. That's Jared Kushner's father. The Senate just confirmed him to become the ambassador to France.
Oh, thank God.
This comes after his pardon by Donald Trump for tax evasion and other crimes. Look, I've never dove into Charles Kushner's crimes, but I just feel like we talked about this with the Bidens earlier. You reach this position of power, of influence, of money flowing in, where you just become insulated from any kind of real consequences. In fact, you continue to be rewarded even when you've done bad things. And I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but I am feeling this a lot lately. It really just feels like society, more than ever in my lifetime, is divided into the haves and the have-nots.
Amen, sister.
And I wish more people would open their eyes to that. Kind of what we were talking about the last segment. You got to criticize the people who are in charge, even if they're taking up for your cause in your mind.
Yeah.
They are on a level you will never get to, and they don't want you to ever get there.
And
it's the Carlin thing. I mean, he was a
Yes.
comedy. He was funny, but he's right. It's a big club, and you're not in
You're
it.
not in it,
Right.
bro.
And millionaires are not in the club.
No,
I'll tell you that.
No. I'll tell you what, regular old millionaires are probably the ones getting hosed more than anybody.
Yeah.
They pay huge tax rates. They don't get the benefits of billionaires. They don't get the benefits of people that are worth $300, $400, $500 million. And they're going to pay tax on all that. You take your rich ball player down the road who's making $30 million a year. He's paying 50, 60% of that in taxes. But the guys that are billionaires are paying nothing in income tax because they're not getting a salary. They refuse to take a salary. They take it all in stock. And then they use that to get 2% loans where they can just be billionaires and never have to worry about paying income tax ever.
Speaking of billionaires, Elon Musk, the world's richest person that we know of anyway, has announced that he will significantly reduce his political spending in the future. This is because all the backlash that Tesla is facing. He's basically trying to get out of the political game now after he's seeing how unhappy people are with, where he's putting his money.
Is that it? Or did he just accomplish his goals?
I mean, well, he said, I think I've done enough. So it's probably a little of both.
You got attached to the government. You had access to people's private records. You got all this stuff. Who knows what he did with? I don't trust that guy at all. I trust him less than I trust pretty much any person on the planet.
The NFL tush push ban proposal is back on the table at the spring owners meetings. I'm not even going to try to be the one to roll this out. Wheels, can you explain what the tush push play is?
All right, so there are a couple teams, but the main one is the Philadelphia Eagles that are really good at this. When you have a good running quarterback, especially one who's not frail, but physically strong like Jalen Hurts is. So what they do is they line up 2 or 3 guys behind him on a goal line play, And it's just a quarterback sneak, and everybody goes forward, and the guys behind him all run, and they push him. They push his tush into the end zone, right? And a lot of players around the league and a lot of teams are saying this is a dangerous play because you've got like 5 or 6 human beings pushing at like 2 or 3 that are actually in that spot defensively, and they think it's unsafe. I don't know if it is. If they have data that shows that, I'll believe them. But most people hate it because it's just boring.
That is the single hottest story you've ever done.
Yeah.
Are they worried like people will get trampled doing
Well, they're
that?
worried about like knee injuries and leg injuries and things like that for the defensive linemen who are trying to stop it.
Okay.
Because what you'll have, like, say you're a defensive tackle. Let's say you have 3 defensive linemen and they're all lined up head to head against an offensive lineman. So you're lined up against a 320-pound guy across from you. And then you've got the quarterback pushing in, and then you've got 3 more guys behind who are not just players, but they put big guys back there. So 3 more guys that are 270, 280 pounds, and you got all of that force coming at 3 people. And then, of course, you're going to have linebackers trying to jump in. I haven't seen any data on the injuries. I think it's a fair question to ask whether or not that's a safe play.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about sports, the White Sox have unveiled a mural in honor of Pope Leo.
It's pretty funny.
The mural features the Chicago native Pope in his papal garb, along with a photograph of him with a local family cheering on the team. This is pretty cool. Yesterday I was saying I don't necessarily dig the people who are dressing up as the Pope. I don't think that's necessarily, I don't think they're there like, we're here to show respect. But this is more of my speed as far as like, this is fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
They're doing something like
Having
that.
fun with it.
Have we talked about these 7 inmates who escaped a New Orleans prison?
Man.
But you've seen this online,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They found a hole behind a toilet and they all escaped and wrote messages saying like, this is too easy. We're innocent, all this. The search continues for these inmates. Authorities are saying they have friends and family members who are helping them and concealing them and helping them move around, which is making their job more challenging.
I only half mean this, but I remember as a kid, I remember thinking, if you get out, if you do a successful jailbreak, you should just get out.
Especially if there's just a hole behind the toilet. Like, what are you supposed to not shimmy out of that?
Do they not do any
understand.
inspections in these prisons?
I don't think so.
Oh, this had to be an inside job. There had to be some help on the inside.
I saw it's a different story, but it's the same thing. I saw a story where a prison guard was arrested after 10 inmates got out, and it sounds like maybe he was conspiring with them to make that happen. What's up with this?
Yeah, I mean,
sudden prison break syndrome.
how are they able to like pay him off? I can't imagine the guard doing that out of the kindness of his heart.
Family money from the outside, like
I
people
guess,
send money.
I think we'd be shocked. I doubt there's a prison in the country, maybe in the world, that runs on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some, but I would bet the majority are probably questionable at best.
Dante says that he saw me over the weekend in Chicago, took his son to see Beyonce, but didn't want to creep me out. Dante, you would not creep me out. I met a couple of listeners in Chicago this week. Anytime you guys see me out, just say hello. Dave, you agree with that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I love
And be
Dante's
nice.
comment.
Just everybody, we're nice. We're nice.
Nice guys.
He said, I didn't want to creep him out, so I didn't speak. That's very nice. Let's do one more story. Gas prices are set for their cheapest Memorial Day since 2021. So this is good news because 69% of Americans are planning a road trip this summer. The national average price of gas is expected to be $3.08 per gallon on Memorial Day. That's the lowest since 2021, like I said. 40% of respondents to a survey they did are willing to drive more than 5 hours to reach their destination. So hopefully everybody's safe on their road trips this weekend.
Very good. Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks.
Tell you guys about Zero Res. There will be a new deal come June. That's crazy just to say June. It's just that close. But for the remainder of the month of May, the Zero Res deal is 3 rooms of carpeting, $129, $75 off your air duct cleaning. I don't talk enough about air duct cleaning. Just Google it. You Google air duct cleaning and you will be shocked. We're not talking about a little dust. We are talking about if you had a mound as big as a car of dust bunnies and then put that out evenly across your air duct system. That's how bad it can be if you haven't had that done, or if you live around crops or things like that and you get lots of that stuff in the air. If you have someone who's compromised, whether it's a kid with asthma or someone with COPD, really a good thing to do. Not only do we clean air ducts and wall-to-wall carpeting, but we do area rugs, we do hardwood, we do tile, we do upholstery like your couch and your chair. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, EMS is on the scene, and they've had a couple more call-outs again for this crash on 141 at Gravois Bluffs. It's right in the middle of the intersection, so the left lanes, both directions are shut down, and you cannot cross 141 on Gravois Bluffs. So you have to go either northbound or southbound, depending on which side of the roadway you're on. So it's jammed in the area, both directions. There's a jam both directions on 270. That crash north 270 north of Manchester, blocking the left lane, but traffic, of course, backed up both ways. The northbound jam goes back to Doherty Ferry. Southbound Gawkers, more of a slowdown, but that begins back at Page. Southbound 170, south of Olive down to 64 is slow. Westbound 64 Kings Highway out through McCausland is busy. And then 364 out to 70, there's volume. Westbound 70 has some slow stuff from Kings Highway, most of the way to almost Lucas Hunt. And in St. Charles County, it's just kind of slow A to Z. Eastbound 70 busy, approaching our city into 270. After that, it's not so bad. Southbound 55, a little slow. Gasconade Bates, that really doesn't look like a big deal. Z down through McNutt toward A. There's a couple heavy spots. Eastbound 70, though, is backed up from Adelaide onto westbound 44 due to that crash at the Poplar. Westbound 64 is at 3rd Street. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler for Game Day Men's Health. You'll find them at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. And I know I told the story yesterday. I'll repeat it for those of you that missed it. But this is a long weekend. At least coaching weekends can get a while. They can hit you. You're on your feet for 10, 11, 12 hours at a time on some days. And that can lead to your back being a little tired and all that. And the last summer, I was pretty close to not wanting to coach anymore because just how I felt for days after these long weekends. Well, I've been with Game Day Men's Health now for a few months, and I'm working on TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy. Went in for a consultation, did a blood test, found out my numbers were low. So now the numbers are where they're supposed to be, and I don't have any of the residual effects from the long weekend. I don't have the sore back. I don't have heavy legs. I don't have any of it, and I haven't missed a workout since baseball season started either, which was basically what I always did in the past, was miss all of the workouts during the season. And I'm convinced it's because my body's giving me the things I need to recover. No matter what your question is, whether you want to check out maybe something like TRT, or if you're looking at ED treatments or medical weight loss, maybe even peptides if you're maybe getting ready for a big race or some kind of competition, they've got great answers. Everything is overseen by board-certified physicians. The staff are trained experts. They're really cool people. They know exactly what they're doing. Plus, you get one price explained up front. That's it. And you'll understand that moving forward. So you've got locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. You can go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com and do what I've done, man. Get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Welcome back, guys. DGS 351. Happy Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what day it was.
Same. I only see other people referencing Tuesday over and over again, but it feels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It's because Andrew's gone.
I know. I miss him.
Yeah.
Miss my buddy. But
It's awfully quiet in my office.
Yeah.
It's just me talking to myself now instead of the two of us talking.
So speaking of Kevin talking, you have two very interesting takes today. One is on P. Diddy and the other is on Pop-Tarts.
Which one you want?
Both.
All right. So we can do the Sean Combs things. I'm not calling him Diddy anymore. I'm sorry. When you're accused of the things he's been accused of, you don't get to decide what we call you anymore. You're Sean Combs. That's the name that's on the indictment. So let's go with that name. How does that happen for so long?
I think the same way that Biden, the thing happens.
Or the Weinstein thing. I guess, isn't that crazy, though, that people care so much about their careers? I mean, like, I care about my career, don't get me wrong. But not to the point where I would allow anything along those lines to happen near me or around me without saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's something about, maybe it's because that's just another level. But I don't think I would change based on the level, right? Because I know you owe like millions of dollars and big recording careers, or in the Harvey Weinstein case, acting careers, whatever. But I don't get how that people just let that slide and just let these kinds of well, just say it. I mean, like, they're predators. Mm-hmm. That's what the people who do these things are. They're predators. They take advantage of positions of power to get what they want. I don't know how it lasts as long as it does without it becoming more publicly known.
And is your take on Pop-Tarts pretty much the same?
Dude, it's exactly the same. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there are now going to be Pop-Tarts ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Like, come on.
Wow.
Seriously. So the sandwich part on the outside's Pop-Tarts.
How have we not thought of this sooner?
I know.
It
How
seems
is
like
that
such
now?
a duh.
I feel pretty stupid.
How did none of us just do it?
Yeah.
You open a pack of Pop-Tarts. There's two of them in there.
You got
you
ice
slap
cream.
ice cream in there. You got the tastiest dessert in the history of desserts.
You know who loves Pop-Tarts?
Andrew. They're great.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
1041 FM, KMOX, News, Talk, Sports.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds Rivers Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online